Welcome to the Creator Series Season 12, the finale. It's here. We are at Brazil, one of the best tracks in the game, one of the best seasons of Creator Series, and it's all coming to a head here. And guess what? It is a sprint weekend. I am buzzing. Coming into this, we have Lolinova in the lead. It has been his season. It has been him in charge. The Italians have been up strong, but technically, there's still a chance that Ben Daly, Tiamat Marduk, could pull this through. We are ready. We have Fabio as well. He's no doubt going to bin it at some point and give us some controversy. We have Adam Sanderson, the host of all of these races as well. Will his internet go out? Who knows? Anything can happen here because it's Creator Series and it's the best blooming thing in F1 game, I argue. That's right. First off, make sure you're sharing this video, liking, commenting, and letting us know all of your thoughts and feelings. We want new people to come in and find this every week. Let's get you up to date. Shall we bring in Alex? And then we can talk about some of the standings that we have. Alex, welcome to the show, the finale. Are you ready for a good night?
I certainly am. Yes, thank you, Scott. It's going to be a very good night indeed. Brazil is always a circuit that brings out the best in Formula One. And will we crown an Italian champion here this afternoon? We're going to find out a bit. But yes, as you said, Scott, let's have a look at those standings.
Yeah, let's look at the driver standings and see where we're coming into this weekend. So, as you can see, you've got Lolinova in the lead, 179 points. Now, Ben looking kind of far away here, okay, in second place, and 147. Now, this can go his way, and when it comes to Creator Series, absolutely anything can happen. I'm just saying. We have Kareem out of contention, but he's so fast. Will he get right in between them all? We spoke to him last week, and he's like, you know, I don't care. Like, I've got nothing to win or lose. I'm just going for it. Razin Shine fourth, Mr. Razin doing good as well. That guy Vince fifth. Alex Gillen won't be here tonight with 111 points in sixth. Fabio with 80 points in the McLaren. Still weird seeing him in McLaren, to be honest. Safso loving it 8th. Grid Jokes 9th. And Ricky in 10th, Alex.
Well, I've turned into Tom Wilkinson, so I'm just going to talk and Tom's going to move his mouth like
Tom.
I'm talking.
I didn't see you there.
So we've got Adam Sanderson in 11th, and then Matt 212 in 12th, then GB68 in 13th, with Concept 7 in 14th, Chappers in 15th, Tom at 97 in 16th, Tuki in 17th, Baraki in 18th, Orion L83 in 19th, and Scotty Designs, by the way, rounds out the top 20.
I love it. You're looking good, Tom. You're looking good. Shall we go with the constructor standings? Let's see who's going to be with me here. Let's see. Here we go.
Again.
All right. Hey, mate. How you doing? Well, you're here. You might as well do something, right? How about you read out who's leading the Constructors' Championship?
Was Ferrari going for that double championship victory? Riccio 3 back in the hot seat a couple of weeks ago after a little bit of a holiday. Still an outside chance for Racing Bulls and Red Bull to backdoor it. Looking unlikely. Mercedes, I don't know how far ahead they are of Alpine because they're on hashtag not applicable, so maybe they've been disqualified.
That bad. That bad, right? Aston Martin, probably in the best position. We're going to see them for the next 12 months, so let's just enjoy that with 6th place. McLaren, 7th place. Sauber, 8th. No longer a team, obviously, in real life, but we still got them. Williams in 9th, and 10th is Haas in the bin. Ouch. Unfortunate. Anyway, shall we? Let's talk for a minute, guys, because we are here. Let's bring up everyone on screen if that's possible. Because we have the one and only Mr. John. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Scott. Obviously, great to be back with you. Also great to be back with Tom as well as always. Alex Heron as well. Everyone, we have got a grand finale of all finales here tonight. We head back to Brazil. First time, though, as a final round in the Creator Series, which is going to be astounding. And also on top of that, Benjamin Daly, who, if you might remember, Scott, me and you shared a commentary box together when he went ahead to win that title. Well, he could make it 3 if the numbers go his way this evening. So that is the big question mark. Can he achieve that? Lolinova, though, has been in furious form. Ferrari was, of course, the car that Benjamin Daly took to that second title. Lolinova, though, looking to win this time in his Ferrari. So major question marks. 3 times in the past we've had a sprint race around this circuit. And aside from that, this is our 8th visit. If we include Season 1's visit, of course, that was in the first half, whilst it was the Choco League. I'm going to count it for the instance of this stat, but 8 occasions this will be now our trip to Brazil, our 8th occasion.
I love it. The man with the facts. You're going to be hearing from George and Tom all race long, giving you all of the in-depth analysis, what could potentially happen based on points, all that kind of stuff. We're going to have Alex getting all the behind-the-scenes footage for you as well. let's put Career Series to one side for a second. George, give us the goss. Give us the goss on
Goss?
on
Goss?
F17, okay?
Oh,
come on. Tell us, come on. What do we not know?
Well, I mean, listen, there was a lot that happened, obviously, through the course of that weekend, but I just want to say DreamHack were phenomenal hosts for us throughout the weekend. We had 50,000 plus tickets sold right through the weekend. There was plenty of seats filled as well, watching the event unfold. It is still very tight as far as the championship's concerned, even though the 2 Red Bull drivers have gone ahead to win races. Obviously, Freddie Rasmussen winning the first, and then Jana Watmir coming out and winning the last race in style at Bahrain. I mean, what an astounding move it was to take on 3 cars through turn 12. Unfathomable, but he made it work, and very typical of what we've seen from the Flying Dutchman in the past. But I have to say, behind the scenes, Nicolas Longuet looking exceptionally strong right now, meeting his father Christoph. Williams obviously providing him with that hub, that environment, helping him thrive, I think, in this very superior grid rostrum we have in F1 sim racing. And aside from that, Otis Lawrence also with a win under his belt. Honest to God, there's so much we could go into with regards to F1 sim racing. But one thing I will say, the sequence of rounds, races that are still to come are going to be fascinating.
Can't wait for the fire. Right, love it. Tom Wilkinson, who's taking it tonight? Is Lolly going to do it? You're going to go with the safe option with Lolly, or are we thinking Ben Daly? What's it going to be?
The problem is, as much as I would love to see a turnaround, just because it would be pretty cool and pretty exciting, if you look at the odds, we've got 36 points available. Ben is 32 points back. Things would have to go so drastically wrong for Lolonova to lose this. Normally when you get into a title decider and there is a bit of a battle going on, you do approach it slightly differently. I think it's dangerous if Lolly approaches this differently because he's got such a big buffer. He doesn't need to treat this like it's a high-pressure situation because it's the 1 percentiles. Those are the chances that are going to mean that he loses this. It's the 99% guaranteed, I'm going to say, that he's going to win this championship.
But what Ben Daly has is an Adam Sanderson. When you get Adam Sanderson next to you, anything can happen. Isn't that right, Alex?
Well, it certainly is. I was about to say, unfortunately for Lolonova, he's an F1 driver who is Italian leading a world championship. So anything could happen from here on out till the checkered flag. The Italians have never had the best luck in Formula One. But I think for Lolonova, this could be the opportunity to break that curse. And he has been superior this year. And as Thomas said, 32 points is a massive margin with only 36 available. I think Lolly is starting further back in the sprint race. So Ben's going to need to have a big old win in the sprint and then have a even bigger win in the main race. But it's a long race. Anything can happen. If we get a little bit of weather in Brazil as well, which is it's always famous for, then you never know.
And it's a sprint weekend, which I love. But yes, I don't know why, but we do have a difference in the starting grid. We'll get to that after. George and Tom will take you through that when the time is right. But yes, we have the sprint race, the short qualifying session, and we have the full 100% race. There will be weather, there will be chaos, carnage, safety cars. This is a time for all of the drivers on the grids to sort of have their allegiance, right? Are they going to, like, for instance, George, we've been there, we've seen races, right, where sometimes when you're trying to get up the field, certain drivers might be more favourable to Lolly or favourable to Ben, and they're going to fight a little bit harder or let you through, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously their teammates are going to play a role. I mean, that's no question. We see that in various occasions when racing in the Creator Series, and obviously another factor in the Creator Series is the safety cars that rear their head towards the ending of races as well. So if we do see more versions of that is a distinct possibility. Also, we got to raise questions as to how Lolonova is going to fare in fighting for this title. Is it going to be the case that he is going to take this all the way when it comes down to race trim? He's got an almighty battle on his hands, making his way through the sprint with Benjamin Daly in a prime position. Like you say, we will go through that grid as well in due course and time. But then, of course, when we do venture into the Grand Prix itself, if Lolonova, somehow, some way, with the title on his mind, emblazoned in his membrane, makes a mistake, these are things that can very easily happen. And, we speak about Ferrari strategy time in and time out in real life. There is no reason why we can't see something like this occur here tonight at Brazil. And it's a circuit of so much variance, so much can go wrong, weather can change, anything can happen.
You are 100% right. Talking about mistakes, let's talk to Tom for a second. how important is this qualifying session? Because, like, if one of them mess up, we've seen it, right? We've seen weird qualifying sessions where it could start wet, go dry, someone doesn't get out in time. Or, starts dry, goes wet. That's what I meant to say. They don't get out in time and then they go. They're starting at the back, no matter how fast they are, right, Tom?
I actually think for Ben, it probably doesn't make that much difference, which sounds crazy, but he's going in. He's already sat down at the last chance saloon. He's got no margin for error at all. So whether he qualifies first or qualifies 20th, I think he probably approaches this in the same way. His racecraft will be the same. His strategical decisions will be the same. For Lolly, it will be a hit to the ego if he's qualifying maybe in the lower reaches of the top 10 or even further down. That will just put that added pressure on. If you're a golf fan, it almost feels like the Ryder Cup from last year, where the Europeans had such a massive lead. It was almost impossible to blow it. And then they very nearly did. And we had that clutch moment at the end. That's how I'm partially envisaging this might go. I don't think it's going to be that simple, even though I'm still seeing Lolly as a firm winner.
That's fair enough. Right, everyone, this is your call to arms, okay? Let the world know who we are. We are Creator Series. We give you content week in, week out. We bring some of the best sim racers and content creators into a pool, put them in a race and just have a load of fun. You can see all of the handles right above us with, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Please let the world know who we are, because we just want this to grow and grow and grow, George. Isn't that right? You've been here from the start, right?
Oh, yeah, for a long, long time. Obviously came in with Hayden Gullis a long time back. He recruited me from the Gfinity arena when we were working together on F1 sim racing. But yeah, no, it's a privilege. Everyone get on board. Creator Series, GG is the place to be. Make sure if you're watching, of course, on Twitch, to leave a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. You do not want to miss a thing.
Yes, and let us know exactly who you think is going to win tonight. Alex, I don't think I got it to you. Actually, we're going to jump away to the starting grid. George and Morgan, take it away, have some fun. We got this.
Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you very much indeed. Starting grid ahead of this trip to Brazil. The sprint race will be the first to wet your lips over. Chris starting from the back, but at the very back, it's Bimex in the Williams stepping in as a reserve. Chris also a reserve in at Alpine. We move up then into 18th place on the grid. It's Jakey stepping in the Mercedes. Lolinoba, championship leader, starting from 17th on the grid. He's going to have to fight his way upwards. 16th place will be Karim 70 alongside former champion Racing Chai as well. He starts 15th. 14th place, it's that guy Vince in the Mercedes, lined up alongside Ferrari's very own, in a Ferrari jersey, but driving a McLaren, in Fratic in 13th. We move up then to the 6th row. It's Safso for Racing Bulls, lined up alongside Grid Jokes in the Sauber. The 5th row, well, that gives us Ricky 03 in the Ferrari, Adam Sanderson, Devon Butler himself in the Red Bull in 9th. In 8th place, Concept 7 and Williams, lined up alongside Tukey in the McLaren in 7th on row 4. We then move up then to row 3. It's Ryan L83 in at Alpine, with Scotty Designs, by the way, in the Aston Martin in 5th. 2nd row, P4, it's Mango in the Haas, alongside Faithful in the Sauber in 3rd. And then we move to the front row, where we'll see Davide in the Haas, alongside budding potential champion Timet Marduk, chasing a record 3rd title here in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Can he lead the way in the sprint and coincidentally the race as well? So there we have it. That is what we've got to look forward to. You join us now trackside here at Interlagos. Not alone though am I. Tom Wilkinson alongside me. Tom, this is going to be fierce. It's going to be fraught. It's going to be a battle.
It will indeed. A battle royale, you could say. Ben almost comes into this sprint with the pressure because he's been given the open goal. He's got the pole position. It happened a couple of seasons ago. Remember Season X, Alex Gillen versus GB went to the final race. It was a long shot for GB to take it. He started from pole position in the sprint, as Ben has found himself residing this evening with Alex Gillen at the back, courtesy of the reverse championship order. It's a superb circuit. I say it every time we go to Brazil. I have a picture of Interlagos over there. My favourite place to go on the calendar. Would love to go there in real life. And there's always just something magical in the air when we head to this beautiful Brazilian bitumen.
Yeah, it is absolutely stunning. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, of course, the circuit with numerous corners to get excited about. Gets very technical in that middle sector, but the center S is so dynamic. Lefts and rights to take you down through the Reta Aposta into Decidia del Lago. But then you've got the almighty climb coming up into Sector 3, where you come up to Junchao, and then over the top where you go past the Arquibancadas to begin yet another lap. Plenty of overtaking opportunities here, Tom.
Yeah, and I think people sometimes disregard or underappreciate the technical aspect of this circuit because the racing's always so fantastic. You've got the run up the hill and then down into the center S's, along the Curve de Sol, down the Retroposta into the Cida de Lago as well. That middle sector, you really have to thread the needle, be very precise with your inputs, some tricky traction zones. Turn 12 of Jinsha as well, really clumsy corner. If you get it wrong, you're leaking time all the way for the rest of the lap, and then the start of the next lap by the time you reach the center S's. So there's a real technical challenge the drivers have to get into. The rhythm's really important as well. If you lose that flow, it can be quite hard to recapture it.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Well, do please give us your predictions as well in the live chat, folks. We want to hear from you. A lot of Ben fans in the live chat, and of course, a lot of Lolanoba fans. The Italians are here in their droves to support their man to win the title. And what a way to do it would be as well, not only for his own home nation here, Tom, but also for Ferrari itself.
It'll be a big moment. He'd be the second person to be an F1 and F2 champion in the Creator Series. Kareem 70, the first of them all those seasons ago, but it would be a big moment. And he's been steadily improving. The rise of Lolanoba over the past few seasons has been fascinating. From a strong, consistent qualifier, then a podium finish, a race winner, now a championship protagonist and odds-on champion-elect, we have to say, with that enormous buff that he's got. The rise has been really interesting to watch. And that's what's so great about the Creator Series. We have the established runners, your likes of Tim McMardock, Razin Chai, Alex Gillen. Then you've got the new guys that have just been coming up and bubbling away under the surface and turning themselves into fully fledged champions.
Yeah, of course, currently Tim McMardock 2 titles under his belt, coinciding with the likes of Alex Gillen, also Meraki in recent years as well. You know, those are generally the stalwarts of Creator Series up till now, ever since Season 1 took place such a long time ago now. We're talking a good 2 to 3 years ago when that first came into fruition. But obviously Interlagos featuring some great winners in the past, the first ever one being Liam back in Season 1. We then had Bushy Ant, Alex Gillen going back-to-back, the only driver ever to go back-to-back in race trim here at Brazil. Of course, we do have the race coming up later on. In terms of sprints, though, GB68, Noiguera, Karim 70 as well. 3 names that have all gone on to win sprint races. No one has won it more than once. And like I said, in race trim, the only driver to ever win it more than once was Alex Gillen. And it was back-to-back years in Season 4 and Season 6. But we've now got the drivers lining up onto the grid. It's going to be the formation lap to kick us off, allowing the drivers an opportunity to get those tyres up to a reasonable temperature. Huge opportunity, though, here for Benjamin Daly at this stage, Tom, because, of course, he does have that pole position start, and Lolanoba with an immense amount of work to do down in 17th place.
Yeah, and you feel this isn't really about what Ben does, because not to be disrespectful to the other drivers from this position, I'd be very surprised if Ben doesn't go ahead and win this sprint race. Can Lolly maybe just chip away at it? Can he confirm the championship in the sprint race to take all the pressure off going into qualifying with intermediate pole, then going into the race, trying to get the cleanest driver award as well? This is a circuit Ben goes particularly well at. Never finished lower than 4th in any regard. He's qualified 7th and 6th before, so it's not his best over 1 lap, but so consistent in race trim. He's never finished off the podium in the 5 races that he's competed in, and has only got a couple of 4ths in the sprints that are really blotching his record.
Yeah, and he's cruising up to the 2,000 points bracket as well in the A Sports F1 Creator Series, currently standing on 1,962 as it stands, and he's calling to the almighties above to help him out here today, and he's going to need that as well. 32 points the gap between the top 2 in the championship. We just saw Mango earlier on as well, a little POV from his camera, wearing a Brazilian shirt as well at this home circuit as they now climb through towards Junchao. As you can just see there, winding those tyres up, trying to get the heat to the inner layer as well, just to ensure that they have the incredible amount of grip to help them out in the center S's, in those tight corners as well, coming through Sector 2, especially through SA at Turn 8 as well. Not to mention Bico de Pato at Turn 10, where things can get rather tight, but already we've got some spinalas here as they look to warm up those tyres. Adam Sanderson, of course, starting from 9th on the grid. Tim McMardock seems to be the Red Bull that has, spun off, just trying to get some last-minute heating in at this late stage. I'm not sure whether he's got the message. This isn't a reverse race, but he has now been restored to the grid this time, as we now ride on board with Faithful HD on his return to the Creator Series grid. Obviously coming in for its Brandon Miles in the Sauber, as we now await for the lights to go red. Indeed, it's Red Bull in P1, Haas P2, Davide De Sapio in second, as now all 5 lights are indeed lit. And they go out, it's pedal to the metal, and it's go! Go, 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 go! Tim McMardock getting a really nice start. Davide also getting a reasonable getaway. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the center S's, very nearly coming into contact, but in contact. Muscati Designs, by the way, going off of the center S's into the grass, and now others are starting to gain positions, but it's Benjamin Daly who leads. Here comes Davide to the outside now as they come down through towards the next left-hander at Decidia de Largo. Benjamin Daly shutting the door, confirmed your leader in this first lap of 12 here in the sprint.
Maybe having to work a little bit harder than he first would have thought there, Ben. Down the inside into Ferragiro, one of the Ferraris. That's Lonanoba, championship leader. Remember, trying to make up for lost time with 3 wide out of shape. It's the Racing Bulls. We've got the Aston Martin of Scotty Designs off in the background as well. Definitely saw some carbon fibre thrown at that. Might be from the Aston Martin. Really getting stuck in the middle sector. Another Aston Martin looping it, almost catching it once, twice, thrice. Big fishtail for Karim, who also has a bit of front wing damage.
Yeah, damage for Lolinoba. That end plate on the left-hand side of that front wing means that he's going to find it very difficult to make places happen, because Safso in front now. 3 tenths now separate them. Of course, whilst the train is still together, it will hand Lolinoba an opportunity to hang on there, but whether he will sustain it right to the bitter end. Eventually, those tyres are going to be put to the sword, as now it's wheel-to-wheel between Grid Jokes as well. That guy, Vince, looking to move up the inside. They make a little bit of contact coming through the center S's. Wheel-to-wheel, they'll stay. Vince with the optimal line as they come out of the Retro Poster out of Curva de Sol. And indeed, it will be Vince in P9. Infratic now in the McLaren. Looks to move to the outside of Grid Jokes. Grid Jokes shutting him down almost instantaneously. And Fabio will have to think or dream up of something else as that guy Vince moves up into 8th. We've got Ryan L83. Promising start for him and cruising on the back of Mango Slayer.
Grid Jokes has just put one over on his teammate as well. Got some pedigree as Grid Jokes. One of only 5 sprint winners currently on the grid. The other 4, coincidentally, top 4 in the championship. Lolanoba, Tim McMarlock, Kareem 17, and Razin Chai. He'll be thankful that he's put a car between himself and a very racy-looking Infratic going through Beacon de Pato.
Yeah, absolutely right. He was very, very tight to the back of Grid Jokes on the run down through towards the City of Delago. I did think that perhaps Fabio was a little bit, well, rough and ready where it came to making the move happen, and not that the move was able to happen at all, because obviously Fabio did not have a line of entry. Lolinoba side by side with Zafso, again season 1 champion, now under fire from budding potential champion for this season. Lolinoba forced to go wide, and therefore that's not optimal, and instead Karim 70, also a former champion, looks to weigh in with his Aston Martin. Contact, and Karim has gone round and onto the grass, very nearly making contact with the barrier. How on earth did he keep that in tow? As now once more chaos erupts coming through down towards turn 4 and through towards turn 5. Lolinoba and Chris stepping in as a reserve. Lolinoba having yet more trouble, more issues. That front wing, that missing end plate, causing more issues than it's worth.
Leaving nothing on the table. Contact just in front. That's Chris giving Faithful a tap. Chris has had some decent results in limited Creator Series appearances. Lolly still ducking Ween behind the pair of them, looking for the smallest of gaps. There's Safso out of control. More contact that the championship leader has to contend with. And I think he has been bundled down a further spot.
Yeah, I think he has. He's down in 16th for now, Safso. I think largely it's remained the same. Scotty Designs, by the way, down in 17th. There is our Season 1 champion. Lolinoba now around his outside, coming out of Junshao, and indeed, he might even get a double, because now he's moving up on Faithful HG. Lolinoba into P14, a grand recovery, but they've become somewhat disconnected of Chris, away from Rasinchai. Ryan L 83 taking on Ricky 03 as well, further up the order. This is a battle over P6 right now, and others are starting to come into this too, including that guy Vince, who has looked very racy, and Scotty Designs off again through the center S's in the Aston Martin. Vince moving past Ricky 03 now into P6, and now needs to close on Tuki. But look at the gap at the very top. Tim Marduk 2.5 seconds up the road and looking to take this one home and host.
Doesn't need to take any risks here. Can cruise it home. 2.5 seconds in his back pocket. No real threats. Concept 7 got some decent pace, but still bogged down behind the 2 Haas cars. Not good for Aston Martin, though. The last time we had a sprint race here at Brazil, it was Kareem 17 who won, currently down in 20th. Scotty Designs also got his best ever Creator Series result with 3rd, and he's 19th and was bundled out on the opening lap as well. So not particularly good for the 2 green machines.
No, Aston Martin routed 19th and 20th. Kareem 17 we'd expect, as you so rightly say as well, Tom, obviously based on his reputation, of course, Season 9 champion, as now Concept 7 looks to try and charge on the Haas of Mango Slayer. Haas enjoying Ps 2 and 3 at the moment in this sprint race as they head downhill through the sprint. The rear end just losing tread just ever so slightly, but Mango able to hang on, and it's opening up an opportunity for Tuki here. to garner a little bit of traction himself on Concept 7. But Concept 7 now wheel to wheel again with Mango Slayer, looking to usher a Williams inside the top 3, and certainly will do, and instead a double overtake of sorts as Tukey moves at the 4th, maybe make that a treble, as that guy Vince round the outside gets the move done, and now he situates himself into 5th. Mango down in 6.
Just tumbling a little bit here. Ryan 83 was a little bit wayward there coming through turn 7. Aston Martin's doing battle at the back. There's Jakey, one of our 2 debutants today, just going wide. Is Kareem fancying it around the outside of Ferragira? That would certainly put some manners on his teammate, especially with front wing damage. Now throws it to the inside of turn number 8. Little bit of contact between the 2 teammates. Superb racing though, albeit only for 18th and 19th on the road. Kareem with the high road now to the inside of Bika de Pato. I think Scotty will probably just live this one down. Try to get the cutback, doesn't quite have the traction as they barrel down the hill through Magulio. 18th does go the way of the former champion, but maybe a little bit of lag involved there, and just Scotty having to give that one up.
Yeah, and also the tail just going a little bit, well, going from side to side, and that's obviously not going to help Scotty Designs in his pursuit of taking down his teammate. But Ricky 03 now on the back of Mango Slayer himself. Slayer really starting to fall away from those in the higher echelons. Has had to go largely defensive again, coming through towards the City of Delago at turn 4. Ricky 03 as a Ferrari driver, of course, teammate of Lolinoba this season. They've got a rampant force as a partnership together, but now Ricky looking to try and move up into 6. Mango doing enough though to hang on, but all this coming at I suppose a disadvantage in terms of him closing the gap to that guy Vince. Scotty Designs, by the way, has yet more trouble and rejoins the circuit, but bins his car, and that's him retired from the race. The car doing a barrel roll on the run out of turn 4 through towards turn 5. So Jakey now, as a consequence, moves into 19th. Still yellow flags out at sector 2.
The only way, isn't it, for our meme king to drop out of this one? I think Faithful's had a bit of a whoopsie as well, just dropping behind Kareem 7T. Interesting to see what the pace of Concept here is. On the previous lap, 3/10 quicker than Tiamat Malik. That will be the tyre difference. Concept and Tukey as well, both on the hard compound tyres, which at this stage of the stint will be in the ascendancy compared to the mediums. But Ben, with that 5-second nearly buffer over the 2 guys that he has to think most about, you'd be thinking former 2-time champ going to be pretty comfortable for the remaining 6 laps.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to bring that points gap nicely down for Benjamin Daly here at this rate. And Lolinoba, who obviously not featuring inside the top 8, won't score any points in this sprint. So huge opportunity for the Aussie. Now Adam Sanderson and Gridjokes once again draw swords at this point here on lap 7 of 12. We are past the halfway point. A late launch again this time now as we see the pink car of Rasin Chai coming into this. We have now witnessed them coming through the next left and then through the next right. Fabio trying to hold on here. P9 Sanderson looking to move up the inside again. Rasin Chai on Gridjokes. He moves up to 11th. So Sanderson now 1 step away from getting into the points here in this sprint. He's going to be looking to try and close down on Ryan L83. In comes Rasin Chai, of course, former champion, as we have said before, season 5. And now looking to hustle once more, and inside the top 10 he will go. Concept 7 into second. Tukey and Davide now going together as well through the center S's. The Haas is now in full retreat because Mango down in 7th. Davide outside of the top 3 as late on the brakes. Lolinoba into 11th as well. He's managed to surpass Gridjokes. How on earth is he making this happen with that damaged front wing?
I think Fabio, the bottleneck there, he disconnected. The AI going to be significantly slow, but this is, I know it's not going brilliantly. Drive worthy of a champion, though, in adversity for Lolinoba, still giving himself a shot. Vince trying to hang it around the outside of Ferragira. Think he's just going to run out of road, but in the second part of it, turn 7, keeps his foot in it to the outside. This will be brilliant if he can put it off. Now the inside of turn 9, little bit of contact. Rear right tyre to front left, but Dak Gervitz forces his way through. One of only 2 drivers to score points in every single race so far this season. Looking to continue that streak with this P4 that he's currently got.
Well, if we remain as we are right now, moving into the race later on, 24 points will be the gap between Ps1 and Ps2 going into the race. So what Benjamin Daly will absolutely need is to win the race, with Lolinoba ideally finishing outside the points in terms of where the Grand Prix sits points-wise. Obviously, it's going to be very, very tricky as Tukey and Concept 7 go side by side on the run down through towards turn 1. Yet again, battling over those podium places. Tukey, though, with a better line coming out. But that guy, Vince, also looking to follow suit. He has been so mean, so quick. Of course, a winner at Zandvoort quite some time ago. Now up the inside again, this time on the Williams. And that guy, Vince, punching a hole into turn 4. But the switch back on offer here for Concept 7 as he now ploughs his way back into 3rd place. And Vince left licking his wounds down in 4th. Cracking move from Concept 7.
Beautiful racing between the pair of them. Now Davide thinks about it to the inside of Vince. We've got Jakey out of the session, throwing it in the wall out of the centre S's. I think Davide just realising that was a little bit too over the limit there between himself and Vince. Fabio shaking the back of the McLaren. Carbon Fight being thrown off the Haas of Mango, who's continuing to fall through the field. Loninober up to 10th as Mango still trying to have it out with grid jokes to the inside of Beacon of Pato, who gets a little bit of oversteer, wobbly as well. Difficult traction zone when he got damaged. Two to contend with down through Magulio off the circuit, taking the F1 2010 line perhaps, as Chris now to the inside of Jung Xiao will push Mango finally to 14th, but it's not out of the realms of possibility here that Loninober could snag a point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not out of possibility, and obviously that would make Benjamin Daly's task all the more harder as we now watch them make their way down through the centre S's once again. Concept 7 within 3/10, very nearly within 2.5. In fact, it's coming down all the time, and he's going to try and take on Tukey over second, and a very smooth as you like move from Concept 7 to move into 2nd place on lap 10 of 12, but Tukey will not be done with that just yet. He'll be looking to return serve. That guy Vince just waiting and watching for an opportunity. Benjamin Daly has now managed to career onwards. 4.7 seconds the gap. Remember, not long ago we were talking 2 seconds the gap. Well, he's managed to amass more ever since this lot have started to battle, and now we're only 2 or so laps away from deciding who is going to win the sprint race here at Brazil. Of course, in the past, GB68 back in Season 4 was a victor in the sprint. Noiguera the season after in Season 6. Karim 17, last season's sprint winner here at Brazil. Of course, quite a ways off this time is Karim 17. He's down in 17th at the moment. Not an ideal place for him, but Infratic now on the back of Loninober. Of course, Loninober making some distinct progress, but Fabio looking to put a stopper in that, of course, in the McLaren, and of course was a driver of Ferrari years gone by. Of course, Ferrari ambassador of the, well, in the past, is now he moves up the inside past Loninober, and that puts a stopper in Loninober's progression. Fabio now inside the top 10 and looking to hunt down the others. Ryan L83 and Ricky 03 as well. Once again, Ferrari come under fire as the Alpine of Ryan 83 now moves on through Racing Chai and Sanderson. Also going wheel to wheel contact between Sanderson and the others as well. He made contact with Chai. Through went Fabio. Loninober very nearly barreling off as well. He was onto the grass, just got squeezed onto that patch of grass by Adam Sanderson as well. Well, yet more trouble between those two.
And that's the teammate of the driver that's trying to take the championship away from Loninober, and it's still not out of the realms of possibility that he manages to nick a point. Might only be 11th. Yellow flag flying in the middle sector. That's for Faithful going slowly, but we could see some calamities on the final lap because there's a lot of damage in this train, and critically, there is Loninober's teammate right at the front of it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Of course, Ricky 03 perhaps trying to help his teammate out. Of course, he is getting a toe off Ryan L83 at the moment, so he doesn't necessarily dictate the pace. Fimex as well as Karim 7T coming under fire as well. Mango has now since dropped down to 17th, last of the running cars, as now we resume this battle between Adam Sanderson and Fabio, and not to mention Loninober as well, as they come out of the centre S's, heading down now towards turn 4. Again, it looks like Ricky 03 and Ryan L83 are going to go at it. This time Ricky managing to get the move done into P6, and by the looks of it, Racing Chai with a better line coming through turn 4, very nearly upending the Alpine, instead forced to remain in 8th place in that RB as they now fly through now out of the Ferragura through turn 6 of the Laranjina and then down into SA corner at turn 8. There's Concept 7 still leading this crew of cars further back. Of course, there is quite the gap though still between Davide Di Sapio and that guy Vince. 1.4 seconds, that's only expanding, but Timet Marduk here on the final lap, now cruising around the final corners past the Archibancaris. DRS, not a problem, doesn't need it. He's 3.4 seconds up, and he will cross the line to win the Brazil sprint here at Interlagos. Concept 7 across the line in second, Tukey in third, that guy Vince in 4th place, with Davide Discipio, and then Ricky 03, Ryan L83 with Racing Chai. He rounds off the point scorers. No points will be scored for Lolinoba. It's 24 moving our way into the qualifying session before the race. Action will continue. The title still up for grabs here.
Wow. Second win in all forms at Brazil for Tiamat Marduk. And that's back-to-back if you consider he won the main race the last time we were here into Lagos. He had a job to do, and he has done it. You have to shout out Lolinoba, though, through all the adversity and was a pretty terrible opening couple of laps. Does come through to finish 10th, but that leaves himself now 24 points clear with 27 available going into... 28 available, I should say, going into the main race. So that could be a little bit spicy there. Concept 7 and Tuki with some really strong drives. Same with Dak Govins and Davide on debut. And a couple of points there for Ricky to just try and consolidate Ferrari's Constructors' Championship push.
Yeah, absolutely right. What a tremendous race. And we're going to throw it back across to our man as well, I believe. I think we're going to be heading straight across over to Scott Taylor.
Thank you very much, George and Tom. Absolutely nailed it. Okay, that got spicy there for a second, guys. Did you see Sanderson? He was not playing around there. This now gets very spicy for Lolinoba. Lolinoba has a lot to lose and Ben has nothing to lose. So we're definitely going to get into this. Now, Alex, if we can bring you up on screen for a second, I think you were saying that you might have some clip books for us and maybe explain a little bit of why Lolinoba was struggling so much.
I think this segment should be called Clip Book, but only Lolinoba, because that is all I was capturing during that race, because he got into the wars in terms of things. But we'll start off with the first clip, which is one that our producer asked for. So when our producer is ready, I'll swap it over. As you can see here, we've got our good friend Mango here. He was singing the Brazilian national anthem with a Brazil shirt and just sort of having a nice dance. And then he panics and realizes that the race is getting underway, so he runs to sit down and finishes it. But yeah, he was certainly enjoying the pre-race chat. Now if we go over to the start of the race, this is Lolinoba's start from 17th on the grid. So he actually makes a really good launch off the line here as he heads down into the first corner, and he sort of gets trapped on the outside here, caught by a couple of the RBs, and the amount of bumping and scraping he was caught in on the first lap was absolutely insane, because there's cars literally everywhere. But he made it up to 15th place. Scotty Designs there on the right hand side, and he just brakes a little bit late and he gets bounced from one side to the other, and that's where he picks up his first damage early on in the race. Now if we move on to lap 3, while we wait for the clip to load, this is where he was making even more overtakes. So he goes round the outside just go around the outside of Safso, but then has Chris on his inside, and that's where Chris got spun out on the turn. I don't think it was anyone's fault, a little bit of a racing incident. Lolly held his line from what it looked like, but this is sort of all caused by damage. And then he tries to got the inside of Safso, which he, as you can see, not entirely happy about there, but I think personally he was not sort of in the right position to make that move. Don't hurt me, the Italian fans. Then we're going to move on to a actually lovely overtake that he did in this race. I think George mentioned it in commentary. He was down in 14th place here with damage, and wondering how he made it up into this position. Well, Infradic was the bottleneck here, and he just sort of goes all the way around the outside, a triple overtake on this set of cars here, jumping into 11th place. And when you're fighting for a championship, that is a very brave move to make, but he made it anyway up into 11th place. And then the last bit I have to show you is what caused his major damage, which caused any chance of finishing in the top 8 here this afternoon. He's battling alongside Sanderson, going down into turn 1. Sanderson goes for a dive on Infratic. Infratic locks up and Anderson locks up, and then of course big damage on the front right. Lolly already wasn't up too happy with Sanderson. That kind of just sealed the fate, unfortunately. But that is the clips I had from that fantastic sprint race we just had. But yeah, Lolly very much in the wars during that race. Let's hope for his sake that his qualifying goes well so he doesn't get caught up in the sort of damage to the back. Obviously for us it's great, we love watching it, but for the Italian fans and for Lolly, they don't need any more heartbreak in their life.
No, they do not. That was spicy. I was right. Now that I get to see it as well. Okay, so yeah, we've got a very interesting race ahead of us. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take this title. It's still all for Lolinoba. Lolinoba just has a normal weekend for him. There's no chance for Ben. But when we've got extra points available for certain aspects of the race, intermediate, tire, championship, like etc., it does actually make this possible. Okay, Lolinoba just needs to stay away from any troublemakers in this race. Hopefully he's got Ricky nearby him, because I got a funny feeling he might sort of kind of help him out as well as his team. Like, they are teammates, right? So Alex, like, you were watching that from behind the scenes. What was your thoughts? Like, Ben Daly just had an easy time, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ben basically got off the line and stayed there in front. I mean, he obviously had the two Haas cars behind him that sort of bottlenecked everyone behind. But even then, the pace from Ben was impressive this afternoon. I think he definitely, as you said at the start of this race, he has got nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain in this race. And I was watching Lolly through this thing. And again, Italian fans, please don't harm me too much. But I was watching Lolly that entire race. And you can see that he's under pressure here. He knows that this is his chance to win a championship. And there is clearly a level of pressure. And who wouldn't have that pressure? Anyway, you'd be inhuman not to be under pressure. But he knows that Ben is sitting there thinking, oh, I can just win a championship if you just, make a few mistakes or if people cause problems. So, for him, it's easy. It's like another Sunday out. But for Lolinoba, this is going to be a very tricky afternoon, especially in such a long race in Brazil.
You are right, and a lot can happen in a 100% Brazil race. And we're going into qualifying after this, which is always important, obviously, but this time really, really makes a difference. If Lolly invalidates, has any sort of trouble, it genuinely just makes everything so much worse. We're going to have Ben. If Ben's going to be the most sort of focused at any point in this event, it's definitely going to be the qualifying here, because he needs this, right? He needs basically pole to give him the best chance, and then everything else is out of his hands, right?
Yeah, I mean, all Ben can do in this race is win the Grand Prix. If he can get pole position, that's obviously a brilliant start, and then getting that maximum points. But for Ben as well, you think about it, he's really not been that happy with this era of Formula One car. Since we changed into this era, Ben has sort of climbed back up, and now this is his real chance to have that title. But yeah, it's going to be really tricky for everyone here. But yeah, Scott, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, let's bring everyone else in. Let's hear from George and Tom, because they were obviously chatting obviously to you guys throughout that. George, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, it was a stiff race, was it not? I mean, obviously we're taking a look at the standings as we're currently seeing it. Lolinoba 179 still at the moment. Well, the standings at the moment, 179 points for Lolinoba. Didn't score any over the period last time out. So it's 24 the gap at the moment between the top two. Obviously, the main thing was Lolinoba's damage. That was obviously the main factor. Obviously, Alex explaining it very well indeed. The series of front wing brakes that we, of course, witnessed was tough, obviously, for the Italian, but he did a great job in terms of trying to move his way up the field after starting so far down in P17. Tim Marduk, though, just did what he needed to do. Front row, P1 to kickstart the race, managing to take it all the way near enough, right to the bitter end. Obviously, there were other faces, other names involved in the melee as well over the podium places. Concept 7, a great result, obviously, for him to come away with that quintessentially sprint podium. Yet another point-scoring exercise for him. And he seems to be flourishing each and every time he steps into the car here in the Creator Series.
He is doing good. Okay, Tom, if we had to talk about one controversial driver already in the series, I've got a funny feeling we're going to be saying his name very loudly tonight, Adam Sanderson.
I wouldn't just say Adam Sanderson, I'll say XII as well, because I think both teammates will have a significant part to play. The thing for Lolly is, though, he's 24 points in the clearest thing stand. He hasn't finished outside the top 5 once this season.
Yeah.
So he's got such a margin for error. His performance levels would have to be so far below what he usually achieves, even on an average day for Lolly. So I think, like I said before, trying to approach this differently is just going to get your head wrapped in knots going into this. If you're trying to create tactics with your teammate, if you're trying to use XII to give yourself an advantage, just steer clear of that. He knows he's got the pace to finish at worst in the top 10, probably considerably higher than that. So just taking undue risks and thinking about it more than he perhaps has to with the situation, the buff that he's got, that's when you start tripping over your own toes.
Yeah, well, let's look at the standings, shall we, Alex? Let's see the updated standings now, and we'll see what the difference is. So, yeah, Lolinoba, 179 points. Team Marduk, 155. You still look at that and think, like, Oh, that's going to be tough. But Alex, as Tom was just saying, you don't want to get in your head. From what you showed us, it almost looks like Lolly's getting in his head a little, right?
Yeah, I mean, those few laps from Lolly was definitely struggling to be. I don't know if it was just him being a bit further down on the field, or maybe it was the pressure of the championship. But yeah, he was not the normal Lolly Nova in those first few laps, that's for sure. I think he thought in his head that he had to make positions early on, but with the buffer that he has, he just needs to finish. He just needs to finish basically 10th or 8th in the main race, and he'll guarantee himself the championship. So I think for Lolly, as long as he can keep it nice and calm and nothing goes wrong, but obviously it's Formula One, so everything can go wrong. He'll be fine. But yeah, it's very tricky indeed. And I think there is still obviously battles for P3 going on between Kareem, Razin, and that guy Vince. They're from 3rd to 5th. It could all still change around there. So for them, they're having their nice little battle for P3. But yeah, for Team Marduk and Lolly Nova, it's just going to be a battle of wills, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right, definitely. It's team standings, we'll look at that for a wee second. It's Ferrari. Like, let's go. I love to see it. It is awesome. Lolly Nova, he started on F2, right? He started when the Creator Series done F2, and he's now look where he's at. It's so cool to see, and Ricky's been helping so much as well. Like, it's so nice to see it. I love it. All right, I'm hearing in my ear that qualifying is starting, people. It's time to find out what the finishing lineup will be, and the two amazing people of George and Tom will take you away.
Thank you very much, Scott. We now move in to qualifying now once again, folks, for the final qualifying session, indeed, of this season, Season 12, here in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. We're back at Interlagos. Obviously, the sunshine still it looks dry there regardless here in this short qualifying session, 18 minutes to take us to the bitter end. One final chance to dance, an opportunity, if you will, at this point, Tom, at landing what could be a very defining pole position. And that's exactly what's going to be on Lolly's mind.
First port of call, though, will be something that he's been very strong at in recent weeks, and that is the intermediate pole position point. Taking it in 2 of the last 3 weeks. If he can get that point, open the gap up to a 25, he pushes Tim Marduk effectively to the point of no return. It means he has to either get the fastest lap or he has to either get the cleanest driver award, on top of winning the race outright as well. So I think this singular point is going to be the difference maker, really. If Lolly can get this, he goes into this with the pressure almost completely alleviated. If Ben can get it, or if somebody else gets it, there's still potentially that element of doubt in Lolly's mind.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, there's always doubt, potentially, whilst Tiamat Marduk's obviously within points territory. Of course, 24 points is the gap coming into the final race of the season, as we now watch as Zafso, the Season 1 champion, now make his way past the Archie Bancardis to register a first run to the session, of course, out on the intermediate tyre, which is generally utilised to earn that Inter's pole point, but also at the same time to essentially test the equipment, make sure everything works. That's what we see in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship. It is adopted for that very purpose. Of course, there's a little added bonus if you are the fastest man on Inters here in the EA F1 Creator Series here, and especially here at Interlagos. It is very testing, though. Of course, very little grip in dry conditions on a tyre such as this. Obviously, generally utilised in light rain conditions. As Zafso now darts past the traffic, obviously needs to be wary of that, because there will be drivers out there on very slow runs, just trying to get those installation laps in, those warm-up laps to get the tyre compounds up to where they are needed to be. Quite a few drivers not even using the intermediate tyre at the moment. They're going straight onto the soft tyres. 5-place grid penalty for Karim 17. Now that's concerning. He's out on the wets. No benefit to those. Now, obviously, a lot of questions. Potential for rain through the course of this session. That could be a factor here, Tom.
Rain in the race as well. So that's why drivers are going to be a little bit wary about using up those intermediates. Remember, you get a finite amount of the Inters and the wet tyres at your disposal. Season 1 champ will set the benchmark on the Inters. It's an 11.8, but championship leader just gone 2/10 quicker in the first sector.
Yeah. In fact, no rain is expected in the short quali session, but you're absolutely right. In the race, there is a potential for rain when we make our way around in race trim. Lolly Nova, though, out in intermediate tyre conditions. The first time registered by Zafso, that 1:11.831. And that's the first run he's managed to measure in, obviously, on that intermediate tyre set. Lolly Nova will be next, though, making his way through the final corners, coming out of the turn 11 section at Magulo, and then up through towards Junsao. And then over the top of the crest, he'll go past the Archie Bancardis out of Sabiba Desboxes before then crossing the line this time. Your championship leader, top of the tree, 179 points against his name in the Ferrari, as now Lolinoba goes fastest now with the first 110 of the session. That is a whole second plus faster than Lolinoba, as Tim Marduk, championship rival, goes into second on the intermediate tyre. But there's a fair gap between them as Mango Slayer on the softs goes quickest out of the bunch. But remember, that is on the soft compound, so will not count towards the Inter's pole time. Tuki going fifth fastest. That won't trouble Lolinoba's fastest lap either, as now we see others coming in with Ryan L, 83 on the wets. Here comes Ricky 03. Can he cause a stir? No, not quite enough to go fastest out of the Inter's runs. Dan Guy Vince splits Lolinoba and Tim Marduk with a 111.432. But Lolinoba on his own in the 110s on the Inter's runs.
Nobody in the same stratosphere, and this could be 3 of the last 4 Inter's poles, and this will be the most important one. Tim Marduk hasn't taken one at all this season, 7/10 of a second down. He's got 6/10 in his back pocket over the next closest driver, and with nobody else on the circuit on the intermediate tyres, this is an incredibly valuable point for Lolinoba. Opens the gap up to 25, which means that Ben is going to have to rely on bonus points.
Yeah, very likely Lolinoba's going to walk away with this one. As it stands, we're coming down to the final echelons of the 12th minute, and therefore, as soon as it hits 0, there will be no more Inter's laps. And dare I say it, I can't see anyone else looking to improve this time. Lolinoba's come back into the garage. There's David A, now making his way out of Jun Sao, and now over the crest, and then will eventually field his first flying lap, but albeit on the soft tyres. Chris, currently the fastest man out on circuit with a 107.648. David A looking to get a little bit closer to him. Not this time, though, with a 109.007. That will not trouble Chris, but does mean that Haas currently share second and third at the moment. 12 minutes and 20 to go in quali. 20 seconds till the end of the Inter's runs. It looks like Lolinoba has taken that valuable bonus point.
And that will certainly change his mindset. He knows that it might only be 1 point, but that buffer that he's got, that margin for error has exponentially increased, because it means Ben has to rely on external factors now. So a little bit of confidence, maybe just coming back into the Italian stallion after that. And if we were questioning his pace, well, I don't think we need to question it anymore, because he's absolutely blitzed the rest of the intermediate runners. 6/10 per second on those tyres. That is a serious marker to put down heading into the soft runs.
Absolutely. Well, Concept 7 also on the soft at the moment with 4 to 9 DNFs this, well, 4 out of 9 DNFs this season. Concept 7 is wanting to join the Mr. Dale Academy of Racing, a very prestigious academy as well, no question. But of course, Mr. Dale, as of late, actually training up a potential superstar for the future, Project Max Verstappen, as we have witnessed as well. But great to see Concept 7 with us, as now we witness Grid Jokes go second fastest with a 107.708. Now we're talking 600ths of a second between the top two in the timing screen. But Concept 7 also looking to ferry in a fast lap, and indeed this is a fast run. A purple first sector here with a 17.2 here for Concept 7 as he now flies uphill through towards Jun Sao. And now around the left-hander, eventually he'll cross the Archibancadas as well. We've got Jakey out in a lap, Fimex as well. 2 Williamses looking to rein in their first laps of the session. 10 minutes and 50 left to go. DRS now open as Concept 7 looks to register his first time here in the session. Third fastest it will be, a 108.475. Didn't look like the best of runs, though, coming through the middle into the latter sector, Tom.
Yeah, gave his team a lovely slipstream there to jump Fimex up to P3 on debut, of course. And I wonder if we're going to see Concept going again just to try and get that lap, and maybe a bit of a blunder in the middle sector. That time from Grid Jokes just show us how competitive Chris is at the moment. Grid Jokes, former pole sitter, a couple of pole positions to his name in the Creator Series, usually resides comfortably inside the top 10. So an early run there from Chris in the mid-107s. That's a very competitive start for the reservist.
Yeah, looking really strong for Chris here so far. Of course, stepping in for Alex Gillen, a 2-time race winner here in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series at Brazil. Back-to-back years in Season 4, Season 6. That's exactly the same feat that Benjamin Daly is going to be chasing here this time. This isn't the first time Jakey appeared in the Creator Series. That was when he got handed a life sentence for the murder of Reska Cayoso at Spa-Francorchamps. So there you have it. Of course, doesn't want necessarily to pull off the same exploits here at Brazil. Hopefully he'll keep it nice and clean and tidy. 6th place, so at the moment, as Concept 7 finally registers that time, that elusive time, and that's a 107.434 to displace Chris's lap that he initially set. Still time left, though, to see yet more times improve. 9 minutes and 20 or so left to go. I can tell you that the track temperature now sits at 29 degrees. We're at that optimal temperature right now. Faithful in P8. There's that guy Vince, who was impressive in the sprint yet again. Winner at Zandvoort as well in the past as well, and looking for a second win in the Creator Series.
He is indeed. And he's almost acted as the ultimate spoiler, the joker in the pack for the championship protagonist, because he's been so strong in qualifying, average qualifying position for the full-time drivers. He's actually third on that list behind Kareem 70 and Razin Chai. So ahead of Lolanova, ahead of Tim at Marduk. And even though his race pace isn't quite there, becomes so reliable, such a strong force in the Creator Series. He's a little bit down on the outright pacer that's being set by our champion-elect, although Tim Marduk's just gone fastest in the middle sector. Vince jumps up into second, couple of tenths down on Concept 7. Championship leader to the line, lowers the benchmark by 2 tenths.
Yeah, very strong time there from Lolanova, 107.277, yet the track starting to generate onwards and upwards as Tim Marduk very nearly joins Lolanova, does join Lolanova at the top, but very nearly trumps Lolanova. He did have a purple middle sector, did Benjamin Daly. The gap within 1.5 tenths. Very close together they are, the two championship contenders. Concept 7 now moved down into third as Scotty Design sits inside the top 10. P8 for now with the highest, or should I say the lowest, 108 out of the 108 contingents. Here comes Chris, looking to try for a reprieve once more. Can he improve? Yes, second fastest, so manages to trump Tim Marduk's Red Bull time of 107.415, now beaten with that 107.331. Here comes former champion, season 9 champion, Karim 70 for his first lap, goes quickest of anybody with a 107.110. Lovely time fielded by Karim 70, and now sits above Lolanova with Chris down in third. Tim Marduk suddenly plummeting out of the top 3.
Won't concern him too much at this stage, Tim Marduk. He just wants to keep Lolanova at arm's length in this qualifying session. Lolly usually very quick in qualifying. I think Adam Sands is going to get a lovely tow here from his team. It may have got a face full of dirty air, though, as he went through the clumsy turn 12 of Jung Xiao. Chris looking to continue that really strong reign of form. That 7.3, very competitive time. Adam Sands, big toe to the line, gets up into the top 10. Ninth fastest, 107.8, around about 7 tenths down on the benchmark. But Kareem 70, you look at his middle sector, he's about 1/4 of a second quicker than anybody else. So that is where he is finding the time in that all-important technical twisty part of the circuit.
And that could be down to additional downforce, of course, on his setup, more suited to that very tight and twisty section of circuit. Razin Chai, former champion as well, back in season 5. Of course, also one of the most winningest drivers in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series, though yet to win here at Brazil. Now looking to try and, well, turn his fortunes around as now he looks to spear his way towards the line, goes from the bottom to the near top. Just behind Karim 70 he goes. Yet more time found here as we make our way through the session. 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go. There is Tukey. He's going to come into the pits. We've got Concept 7 out on an outlap as we speak. Tiamat Marduk also out and about at the moment too. And I can tell you that there is very little improvements elsewhere up the very top. Riccio 3's improved in the first 2 sectors, as you'd expect. P10 for the Ferrari driver. So that's now 2 Ferraris inside the top 10 here in this short qualifying session. 5 minutes and 50 to go. So far, no other green laps. So the drivers just coming in, reviewing their current situation. Grid Joke's coming through the middle sector. He'll be looking to try and improve later on as well. But as it stands, Karim 70 holding all the cards with that impressive 107.110 with a very slender gap of sorts. Razin Chai just beyond that 1.5 tenths gap, and then Lolanova down in third as well. Tiamat Marduk down to 5th place. The 2 championship contenders, the title rivals, literally fragments apart here in this session of qualifying, and we'll see very soon as to who's superior in the final 5 minutes of the session.
Head back out there in the middle sector. His first sector time was competitive, 0.06 of a second down on the outright best. That was set by Chris, a 17 flat. Ben in the 17 ones, little bit wide of the apex. The car a bit recalcitrant to turn in and bite through Bica de Pato. As we go through the second sector split, up by a further 1/10 of a second. This should take a decent chunk of time out of the drivers in front, but I don't think he's quite close enough to challenge Kareem 70. Maybe just sneak onto the front row.
Yep, well, we'll see what the third sector brings. Obviously, 2 personal bests inside the first 2 sectors won't go amiss, but it's only enough for 4th, fastest of 15.8 in that final sector, and that wasn't as good as Lolinoba's final sector at all. So he's going to have to try and figure something out as Benjamin Daly. Surely there's got to be something left. I think he may yet get enough time to maybe jump straight out. It's going to be very, very tight. Of course, we've yet to see Lolinoba for his final run just yet. Of course, both of them at the moment, Lolinoba and Timo Marduk, sharing the second row provisionally here ahead of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Here's Jakey stepping up here this time as well. He's covering for Blue Fox, who's covering for Matt 212, as now Jakey jumps up into 18th place in the Mercedes. Work to do here for the young man, but just behind Fimex as it stands with that 109.617, but still faster than Faithful HD's time that currently sits in 19th at the moment. Elsewhere, no improvements in that first sector for Concept 7 as far as I can see. A 17.2 certainly isn't going to help him out. Ryan L83, Zafso down in 13th as well, just looking to warm those tyres up and get ready for another run. But it's still Karim 7T, who looks to be quite content with his current position. No one has moved a muscle inside that top 5 aside from Tiamat Marduk inside the closing minutes as Concept 7 goes second quickest. Now this time to raise the stakes ahead of Rasin Chai, and Lolinoba now down to 4th.
Superb middle sector there for Concept. Only driver that's managed to get within a whisker of Kareem 7T. Interesting on Tiamat Marduk as well. Maybe this just puts that second attempt into perspective. That was on a used set of the soft compound tyres. So very, very close to the back of Lolinoba. 18 milliseconds separating the two championship protagonists, and both of them still with a brand new set of soft compound tyres in their arsenal.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 50 to go now. Scotty Designs, by the way, about to commence his next run. Of course, it's been a busy campaign here for Scotty, who is most known for his fantastic meme recap videos that we, of course, get to see as part of the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Of course, he's down in 20th in the championship race, coming through to the final round at the moment, just behind Ryan L 83. Some of his best performances, though, acquiring 3 points coming through the course of Hungary, and then also at the same time at Zandvoort, and managing to acquire the same at Japan as well at Suzuka. Of course, Scotty has had his best ever Creator Series season if you only look at his qualifying results. And yeah, that's probably a fair reflection for poor old Scotty, but nevertheless, a wonderful driver, a wonderful character as part of this championship as he now makes his way out of the middle sector and then through towards the final sector. Just trying to conserve some of that battery, obviously, for the latter point of the lap. As you can see, he's got quite a high leverage of battery. Yeah, I think he has actually backed off out of the lap. So therefore looking to recharge for yet another run. But what that will do is mean that he'll have a lighter fuel load to use for his final run heading down in towards turn 1. But he's got company, though, a Mercedes coming along for the ride of Jakey. So hopefully it's all going to be respectful between these two. In fact, Jakey allowing Scotty Designs on his final run because we are coming into the final minute and a half. And I can tell you that 5 out of the top 6 drivers are now out on flying laps. Concept 7 staying in the garage for now. He won't be setting a final run, but Karim 7T, your current provisional pole sitter, has got Rasin Chai, Lolinoba, Tiamat Marduk and Chris all making their way out onto the track. That guy Vince, I'm expecting a late lunch from him higher up the order as well. Grid Jokes, Ricky 03, Adam Sanderson and Ryan L 83 as well alike. It is going to be a very tumultuous battle in the closing stages of this qualifying session.
Strong late run from the Season 1 champ. Safso was under the cosh a little bit, but finding half a second to move up into 7th. Probably the last attempt that he will get. Faithful trying to find some time as well, but not looking particularly quick in the first sector. Chris, though, matching their first sector, fastest first sector, just a couple of hundredths down. Can Kareem 17 find a little bit? Yes, but only 14 milliseconds.
Well, we'll soon see whether they can find anything else. Of course, we're watching the timing screens at this stage. Karim 70, 107.110. The middle sector needs to be decent here for the former champion from Season 9. Benjamin Daly chasing a 9th pole position in the Creator Series as well. He's on his fast run as we speak. Very, very slender gaps between them. The top 5 all within 0.2 of a second, but Karim 70 looking to be the first out of the bunch to register that final time onto the board. Lolinoba likely the same as well. In fact, I think he's just in front of Karim 70 as we stand and watch them move past the Archie Bancalis. Ricky 03 giving him a helping hand. Is it going to be enough to launch Lolly to the top? No, 5th fastest for Lolinoba. Karim 70 improves into the 106s. Great lap for the former champ. Here comes that guy Vince, 8th quickest for him. But what has Tiamat Marduk got left? 2 personal bests in sectors 1 and 2. Will there be a 9th pole position of his Creator Series career for Tim Marduk? Crossing the line, it's second fastest. Not quite enough. A mere 41 thousandths between the top 2. Come the end of qualifying, Chris has moved up to 3rd fastest as well. Well, he retains there at the moment, looking to finish strong. Concept 7 finishes in 5th for now as well. We got Tukey on an outlap at the same time, but we are in stoppage time. It's going to be all over for Tukey. Mango Slayer down in 16th at the moment. Karim 70 looking like your pole sitter ahead of the final race of the season. The former champ is back from season 9. Looking to finish on a high, and that is a nice way to start. And even he can't believe it. Rasin Chai in 2nd, rolling back the years as well, with Tim Marduk in 3rd, who looked briefly to hold on to that 2nd fastest spot until Rasin came along. Chris down in 4th will join Benjamin Daly on the 2nd row of the grid. Lolinover with work to do, and it's going to be tough with Concept 7 next door to him as well. But remember the gap, 24 points in the championship. All Lolly needs to do, keep it straight, keep it close, retain as many points as possible, ensure that he doesn't allow a window of opportunity for Benjamin Daly to allow that points leverage to close and in fact twist through the ratio, and he will come out as a champion in the Creator Series. But a compelling ending to qualifying here, Tom.
Surprised that Lolly didn't improve. I've just looked at his middle sector on that final lap. It was absolutely terrible. Lost about 1/3 of a second. So despite the big slipstream that he got from Ricky, wasn't able to catapult him any further forward. For Kareem 17, that was smart for a while, I think. Needed every single microsecond of that lap with those late runs as well from Razin and from Ben, who's been improving, hasn't he, in qualifying? Traditionally not been his strong suit, but we've seen some really strong laps from him so far this season. And even though he hasn't necessarily taken the pole positions of somebody like Lolly or somebody like Kareem, it's definitely a strong suit that's becoming much more reliable for him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can have a look at the results now. Karim 17, your fastest driver through qualifying. Rasin Chai in 2nd. Tim Marduk could not quite nail down that 9th pole. Chris in 4th as well. Concept 7. Then Lolinoba, Zafso, Adam Sanderson, that guy Vince, Infratic. That's your top 10. Tukey, Grid Jokes, Ricky 03, Ryan L83 as well. Scotty Designs, by the way. Mango Slayer, then Fimex, and then further down, David A, Jakey, and Faithful round off the remainder. What a compelling battle indeed. Scott Taylor, how do you digest that?
Ream 70 has a 5-place grid penalty. Radin starts first. BS.
That's true.
Marduk is second, George. Oh my god, this has got spicy. Lolinoba's in 6th. Let's talk about that. That's not what I expect to see. Alex, what was your thoughts from that?
So I didn't get a clip of it, but I did watch his attempt at a pole position lap. He did a decent first sector, but going into the braking zone just after the end of that straight, he just locked up, went wide, and he was down 1/10 by that point. And from that point, he was just trying to overdrive the car to gain that time back. That, as you said, Tom, his middle sector was dreadful. He just didn't hit any of his braking points. And then Ricky backed off a bit to try and help him with the slipstream, but at that point, it was too late. But what that did do is it cost Ricky a position to be up there fighting with Lolly. He's only 13th place. I believe Adam is up in 8th or 9th place on the grid, and he is very close to Lolinover as well, so you know what he's like with a dive bomb. You could definitely see that happening into the first couple of corners. But there is also rain scheduled, and I think this race is not going to be decided in the first few laps. It will be definitely decided when we reach the end of the race, and by the looks of it, they're already getting started now.
That's amazing. Well, George, I got a funny feeling you're going to have a banging time. Tom as well, please take us away.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yes, we're going to be moving through the race stream now very shortly, folks. Incidentally, we have made history here at Brazil. Rasin Chai, the first driver to take more than one pole position here at Brazil in the EA Sports F1 Creator Series off the back of the 5-place grid drop that Karim has sustained. Bad news for Karim, but obviously the one respite here is that he's not part of the title fight at this stage here, Tom.
Oh, formation lap demolition derby continuing on there as Lolly finds himself almost in the wall going down the retropost. But yeah, Kareem 17, ever since he's been confirmed to be out of that championship contention after a run of really poor races, had some bad luck, couple of 10th place finishes in a row that really killed some momentum that he built up mid-season. He's been driving much freer, was really strong last week in Japan, really impressive performance, getting back to that peak Formula Kareem type era that won him that championship, of course. Still having dreams about winning in Kota, only to wake up in a pile of sweat afterwards. If you know, you very much know. As we see him now doing some rally driving, some lawn mowing off in the pickets on the inside. The strategy game is going to be important as well. Tyre wear is particularly high on this game, not especially as it was in the early stages where in certain circumstances, it was a 2, maybe even a 3-stop race, depending on the tyre allocation that you selected. But only one driver has gone for the hard tyres. That is Jakey down at the back. We've got a nice even split, especially at the front with softs and mediums. Razin and Ben crucially on those softs, and then the group behind all on the medium.
Yeah, I do wonder whether Timo Marduk's going to be working with Razin Chai, I think, at the start of this race, to try and bridge or build that gap in between himself and Chris in behind. There's, of course, a couple of cars that stand between Lolinober and Timo Marduk in the race to the victory here at Brazil. Of course, going to be very, very compelling. Of course, we are expecting rain to arrive late into the race. That is what our telemetry is telling us at the moment. We will keep you posted as to when that does unravel. Of course, let us know your predictions in the live chat, everybody. This is the season finale here of Creator Series Season 12. You do not want to miss a thing. Razin Chai, of course, starting on pole position. Mango Slayer going backwards, but back onto the grid now as all 20 cars line up here at Interlagos. Razin Chai on the left, Timo Marduk on the right. And here at Brazil, they put pedal to the metal, and it's go! Go, 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 go! Great start for both drivers. Up at the very front, Benjamin Daly, though, with a better line coming down through the center S's, but Razin Chai, with a better escape off the line, manages to cover the place with Concept 7 moving into third as well. Kareem 17 looking for a dynamic recovery after the 5-place grid drop that saw him forfeit pole position. He flies down through towards turn 4 with Lolinober in hot pursuit. He surpasses Chris at the inside now, coming in towards the city of Delago, and it's Lolinober into 5th. He's hunting down Timo Marduk, but work to do still with Kareem 17 and Concept 7 still remaining in front of him.
Yeah, he was tentative into the centre S's. Same can't be said for Fabio. He tries to pick the pocket of Chris there. Turns to the outside of turn 9 on the soft tyres compared to the medium short Alpine. Should have the grip, the traction and the confidence. Big lock up for the Alpine, and that will just push Chris ever so slightly wide and hand 7th over to the Papaya and Chrome McLaren. Safso and Adam Sanderson working over each other as well. This is season 1 champ in the ascendancy into Jung Xiao. Adam just locking the rears a tad and not really giving the timer down the outside.
Yeah, Sanderson very nearly falling apart, coming through the final corners. Grid Jokes now is going to look to take every advantage possible as Razin Chai crosses the line to begin lap 2 of 71. A long way to go in the race. Grid Jokes unable to get the move done. Adam Sanderson going slightly defensive, leaving the car to the inside of the circuit, just ensuring that he defends the place in P10. Every point matters as far as the drivers are concerned. Timo Marduk going for the lead of the race here on lap 2 as well, and will do. Coming through to City of Delago, it's Benjamin Daly. The Aussie hits the heights, chasing down that 3rd championship title. He's 2, much like, at the moment, Alex Gillen as well as Meraki, but looking to make it a magical number 3. And with Razin Chai now surpassed, he can start to make use of that soft tyre. They've already broken DRS on Karim. Oh my goodness, Adam Sanderson's round.
Locked the rears again. Saw it on the previous lap, does it again. Slammed into the side pod of Safso, pointing in the wrong direction and dumped down into P19. Not good news. The man that could be helping Ben's title charge. Crucially as well, Kareem 17 up into 3rd place, trying to cling onto the coattails of the soft tyre runners in front.
Yeah, of course, the top 2 trying to barrel away. Razin Chai and Timo Marduk sharing the same tyre compound. They're both on the soft. They're both going to be quick. The next soft tyre user is Infratic, and he's currently down in 7th now as we see Razin Chai retake the lead of the race on the run down through towards turn 1. Kareem 17 finally managing to make his way back to within DRS, all but briefly, has since though popped right back out of it. Concept 7 also hunting him down side by side there between Ricky 03 and Davide DeCipio, who didn't seem to have the best of runs coming in towards turn 1. Got very tight to the inside curb, not an idyllic line, but Tukey with an idyllic line coming through towards turn 4 will surpass Mango Slayer and slays the Mango down into 13th place, and the Papaya driver now sits in 12th. 6.5 tenths away from Ryan L 83 as it stands. It's now 1.2 near enough between Kareem 17 and Timo Marduk. The front 2, in my view, definitely working together.
An important secondary break in this DRS train as well. Safso 2 seconds ahead of Grid Jokes. The Sauber caught up by Adam Sanderson, looping it around in front and just pushing them away from that secondary chasing group. From Kareem 17 down, of course, to Safso in 9th. Fabio with a really strong start as well. It was actually one of the few times, only the second time, that he started inside the top 10 this season, but his race performances have been so much stronger. He's managed to rack up the points week by week by week. Ben to the outside has a little look, but happy for this occasion just to sit and wait behind Razin into the center S's.
Yeah, of course, it's the 126th race for Tim Marduk here. Of course, in terms of number of points accrued, he is one of the highest representatives here in terms of the Creator Series. He's going to move back past Rasin Chai again as they look to utilise that DRS. Karim 70, as I said before, 1.2 seconds is the gap. He's doing well to at least retain some proximity to the two race leaders, as now Ricky 03 looks to go side by side, this time with Mango as well. Mango squeezing him just about to the outside. Both of them give each other a little bit of racing room coming out of turn 4, but now coming down towards the next right-hander at the Laryngina. And indeed, they're still going to be side by side now, coming into the next heavy braking zone at SA corner at turn 8. Around the outside from the Haas. Mango refusing to go down. Ricky 03 now looking to try and hang the Ferrari around the outside. Again, a little uncomfortable. The rear tyres not favouring him there, but he has the inside line now for the next right-hander. Stunning racing from these two as they look to continue their fight. But Ricky 03 with the final answer now maintains that P13 position with Mango down in 14th.
Beautiful, respectful racing between the pair of them. Lee changes hands once more. Karim 70 still very much in the equation. In fact, under 1 second away from the former two-time champion. 3 champions inside the top 3. Champion leader, remember, only needs 14th realistically to take the championship in this race. Comfortably ahead of that position, that target place in P5, and just hovering very steadily, keeping his wits about him, keeping the track limits crucially within his back pocket as well, not taking any liberties when it comes to those white lines.
Absolutely not. Rasin Chai and Tim Marduk manacled together. Of course, Karim 70 just managing that battery as well, that utilization of the battery product inside the car to ensure that he can retain some proximity on the front two. The same have to be said for the front two as well. Obviously, they're trying to make use of these soft tyres as best they can in order to make their strategy work, essentially. Just trying to break away from those behind. Obviously, breaking the DRS would have been ideal for both Rasin Chai and Tim Marduk, both champions of the past. Tim Marduk chasing that record 3rd title. Is it possible, folks? Let us know in the live chat if you believe so. Currently sat 2nd at the moment. Karim 70 ahead of Concept 7, who's had a good day at the Brazilian circuit so far. Still ahead of Lolin Ober, who's just holding position at the moment, holding station. Here comes Tim Marduk again around the outside, retains the race lead back against Rasin Chai this time. So they once again swap, utilising that DRS to their favour as they jet now through out of turn 3, out of Curva de Sol, and now down the Reta Aposta again. But Karim has done a great job, I have to say, Tom, bringing that delta back in. Very difficult to get back to within DRS when you are 2/10 outside of the scope. So it was well managed by Karim, and it does look like he's lost a huge amount of battery.
No, still looking in complete control of this situation. Medium tyres at this stage after 5 laps. Probably a little bit better than the softs as well. You could see the back end of Rasin's racing ball just stepping out a couple of times. He's had a couple of stabs at getting the car hooked up and turned in to turn number 8. So Karim will be liking the look of that and maybe thinking about getting in between this monopoly that's formed between Benjamin Daly and Rasin Chai in the early stages. Concept 7 still looking racy though. Remember, has finished on the podium once before in the Creator Series. That was last season at Mexico City, where he came 2nd behind Tiamat Marduk. So just a nice little bit of law there for himself, trying to double up potentially.
Yeah, no question. Now they look to fly down now through to start lap 7 of 71. Concept 7 within half a second of Karim. Karim's getting closer now this time as now Rasin Chai looks to go for the move. But Karim late on the brakes, very nearly into the back of Rasin Chai's racing bull. And Tim Marduk very nearly sensed danger as well. But that was a very fast Aston Martin making its way through towards the center S's. And indeed, Karim 17 might even fancy breaking down this soft tyre strategy for the front two. In fact, Karim's going to leave it late down the inside, locks up the brakes again, and very nearly invites Concept 7 into the mix as well. Very, very dangerous play here from Karim 70 here on lap 7.
I think he intended to go for that into the Cida de Lago, caught short a little bit by where Tim Marduk was braking, but into the center S's. That felt like it could have been a Piastri Antonelli Leclerc repeat from last year's Brazilian Grand Prix, where we had a bit of a bowling session down into the center S's. Karim just slamming the anchors on and not slamming into the side of the Red Bull in front.
Yeah, he was very fortunate. It could have very easily ended in wing damage for Karim 17. Now sees himself remaining in 3rd. Obviously, I think he'll take that at this stage based on what could have happened. Of course, locking up the brakes coming in towards turn 1 in the initial, and then the same again on the run down through towards turn 4. He'll be hoping that lightning doesn't strike twice. They move on to lap 8 of 71. Rasin Chai, 3/10 now separate him and Tiamat Marduk still, as they look to carry on. This time the lock-up smoke coming from Tiamat Marduk's side. Obviously, it may not necessarily be the case for the driver himself, but just look at this exit here from Karim 7T on the run down this long straight now. He's looking to get within the slipstream of Benjamin Daly. The rear light flashing on Tiamat Marduk's car, but nothing that will concern him just yet, as Karim looks to now fan the car around the outside. In fact, he might go for a move here. They're going to go wheel to wheel, and indeed carrying the speed through. Better line here from Karim as he now goes hunting for second place. Coming through the Larangina in towards SA corner. Up the inside, Karim 7T, the former champ, taking on the two-time champ. And Karim moves into second.
Clinical stuff. Just got himself a foothold in that battle and managed to work one over on the Australian ace and get himself in between the two drivers that took his front row spot away from him with that penalty that he suffered. Concept 7 now staring at the back of that Red Bull Racing car as well, and maybe thinking about pushing Tiamat Marduk a little bit further down the order to leave us with Ben and Lolly fighting over the same piece of tarmac.
Yeah, Lolly Ober trying to cruise up to the back of Concept 7. I think he's just quite content with managing the current situation. Knows he'll be a champion anyway, with the way things are currently panned out. But of course, Karim 7T around the outside of Rasin Chai now takes the lead for the first time in this race. So a brilliant effort on his part. And remember, he is on that medium tyre. Best lap as well is Karim's lap, 1:10.267, the fastest that we have seen so far. As now back comes Rasin Chai. Look around the outside here at turn 4. Obviously aware that Karim is on that medium tyre. Soft tyres for Rasin. Doesn't want to lose any thing strategical wise against the Aston Martin, but Karim managing to manage the deficit effectively here once more. Manages to hold on to the lead. Cuts off Rasin again, who goes hunting up the inside once more again through to the left. Still the Aston now plugging the gap, as now Tiamat Marduk looks to try and prevent Concept 7 from digging a little closer as well. They're all very tight, very condensely packed from P1 all the ways down to P9, where Safso, Season 1 champion, currently six tenths away from Chris at the moment. Then there's a 5.1 second gap to Tuki down in 10th place, but they're about to begin at lap 10 of 71. We enter double digits here in this Brazilian Grand Prix. Karim 7T, half a second now up the road. Here comes Chris now. A little look here on Infratic as they burst down through towards the S's. Not quite enough leverage to make this happen for the Alpine as they head downhill once again. But heading out of the Reta Reposta out of Curva de Sol, it's Karim 7T in the Aston, flourishing here at Sao Paulo.
Concept 7 potentially on the move and in the groove again. Is this the opportunity to relegate Tiamat Marduk down to position number 4? The answer is yes. Sliding slightly wide. Can Ben maybe get himself just the cutback to give himself the chance to the outside of Ferragura? But the door was slammed shut. That's a nice move from Concept 7, using the medium tyres, which are definitely in the ascendancy at this stage of the opening stint, to push Tiamat Marduk now down to 4th and into the clutches of the man that is fighting for that elusive 3rd World Championship.
Yeah, the two championship contenders now together for the first time in this Brazilian Grand Prix race. Now, I wonder if there's going to be questions asked here amongst the drivers on the soft tyres, whether they choose to box a little bit earlier, maybe come in now on lap 10, maybe even on lap 11. We'll wait and see. I'd imagine so. Obviously, given the nature of the positions that they're losing, the medium tyres seem to be flourishing at the moment as they now head around Arquibancadas and then down through towards the start-finish line to begin their next lap. We're on lap 11 of 71 now. No changes, no pit stops made so far. Karim 7T now half a second up the road ahead of Rasin Chai at the moment. He can now manage the pace, Karim 7T at the moment. Not too perturbed with the fact that he has got a soft tyre runner in behind him. He knows he has the advantage. Bimex, though, has gone off. No advantage for him. The Williams, 13.6 seconds. Make that 14 behind Scotty Designs now in 19th place.
Just come out of the pits. Ice cold, hard compound tyres and, well, struggling for grip, I think, is the best way to put that going through the two parts of Descida de Lago. And very shortly, will find himself getting lapped by that leading train. Expected maybe Karim 7T to just extend and stretch his legs a little bit more than maybe he has out in front. Talking about the strategy game, though, of course, we need to think about the weather that is coming, but we're not expecting it for another 50-plus minutes, maybe even an hour. So the drivers can't think too far ahead. They've got to focus on where they are, the here and now, rather than thinking about lap 50 or lap 45, for example, when we're still quite a long way away from that.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be operating mainly on the idea of track position. I think largely just focusing on on where they are at the moment. The one concern is, obviously, for those that are on the softs, they don't seem to be that effective here at this stage. Obviously, Rasin Chai and obviously by that extension, Tim Marduk probably hoping that their initial strategy of bursting on into the front, managing to make that 1.2 second, develop that 1.2 second gap into something more vaster to help their strat out would work better. Faithful has now spun as well, much like we saw from Bimex not too long ago. So that's a concern for him. Obviously, we've only seen 2 drivers come into the pits just now. Obviously, Scotty Designs being one of them, as well as Lolin Ober looks to come into contact with Tiamat Marduk on the run out of turn 4. Once again, we see the 2 title contenders meet side by side briefly for the first time out on track. Lolin Ober sending a message to Benjamin Daly as they now head downhill through the next left-hander before then reaching Bico de Pato at turn 10. They'll come out of turn 10, Faithful receiving a 3-second time penalty, so he joins Jake's club as well. Both of them now on 3 seconds as now the drivers make their way up through towards Jun Sao.
Was an interesting one from Lolly going through turn 5 because he definitely had an overlap but chose to back out of that one. So as much as he is just showing that Tiamat Marduk, or showing Tiamat Marduk that he is very much willing to make a move, not going to risk it all. Remember what happened last season, Tiamat Marduk fighting Meraki as it was for the championship. We saw some interesting battles going on the circuit. Ben was very happy to play almost a villainous arc in that season finale as Lolly locking up ever so slightly through the centre S, just allowing Dak Gavitz to cruise up to the back of the scarlet and white Ferrari. But we know that Tiamat Marduk won't let Lolly win this championship without putting up some kind of a fight, no matter how much of a long shot this is.
Yeah, I do wonder whether this perhaps, it might be a double-edged sword scenario. Obviously trying to make use of those soft tyres in the initial, but maybe there is benefits now to going long on the soft tyre, just remaining within the train. At least then you'll have the better medium tyre later on. Obviously, like you say, the rain is not going to play a factor until much later. We're talking approximately 50 minutes to an hour away, the way we're currently seeing it out in terms of the telemetry. But we will soon find out, as now Davide all over the back of his teammate Mango, so they look to contest over 14th place, just behind Ryan L83 as it stands. It's lap 13 of 71, as we said. There's Davide in the bottom right of screen, just managing, of course, the pace right now with his Thrustmaster rig in between his fingertips, obviously looking to try and gain as many places as he can. Of course, stepping in here into this almighty contest, this battle in replacement of Jorrit Jan van Geffen, who is, of course, the regular driver. Concept 7 now under fire once more. Well, trying to put Rasin Chai under fire. And it does seem to be the case now that those softs have seen better days, because Rasin Chai 1.3 off and has no DRS to protect himself against Concept 7's Williams, who's going to take that very easily indeed on his medium rubber. 1.1 now away from Karim 70 on the escape out of turn 5. So it is now Concept 7 ahead of Rasin Chai and Tiamat Marduk. Surely there have to be ideas of boxing very, very soon for these two. They can't afford to lose too much time.
Yeah, you can't leave it too late because, like you said, track position when the rain comes will be very, very important, especially in this championship complexion. Another yellow flag out. I think that's for Jakey going through the centre S's. Yes, clattered the polystyrene advertising hoardings and just making his way back on the circuit, perhaps with his tail between his legs. Kareem, though, afforded the opportunity to scamper off into the distance as Faithful is the first to retire. That is in the pit lane, though, so we won't see any safety car shenanigans ongoing. Concept 7 was clearly intent as well on getting a bit of a shift on. And I'm going to be fascinated to see how Lolin plays this. Knows that he's now got a significant pace advantage over the 2 cars in front. But how much is he willing to lay down on the table the poker table that is this Brazilian bitchman at Interlagos in these early stages when, of course, there is so much at stake for him?
There is so much at stake at this time, as now we see Davide Discipio now looking to move on the back of Mango Slayer. Nose to tail, Mango going defensive. Once more as the 2 Hasses, who, whilst they are teammates, of course, they're going to continue to persist and fight it out on track as they head downhill through the centre S's this time. Still nose to tail, and they will be nose to tail in the escape out of turn 3, down through towards turn 4 as well. No DRS available for Mango Slayer. Here comes Davide around the outside now, and they're going to go side by side again as they enter through to City of Delago on the escape of turn 5. Lovely move from Davide to get that nose in front against his Haas teammate. And now, as they move around the Larangina corner out of the Ferradura, it's then a trip down through towards SA at turn 8. Karim 70, though, still with the lead as it stands. 6/10 is the gap. That guy Vince creeping into the mix as well. 4/10 now separate he and championship contender Lolin and championship leader Lolin who leads the title race by 24 points coming into this race. Still no changes up at the sharp end in terms of tyre compounds. They're remaining on the softs for yet another lap. Obviously, the rest of the drivers that are around them currently, medium tyres, the highest of the hard runners, is of course the man down in 17th place, which is Jakey. So no one inside really that DRS equation on that hard tyre. No one gambling on the long stretch. It's all about the softs and the mediums. The medium looking like a fantastic race tyre right now.
Looking very strong, as it sometimes doesn't on the F1 25 game. Can be a little bit of an inconsistent tyre struggle to get it up for temperature, and then they overheat pretty quickly, and the tyre just begins to spiral and spiral. But looking solid as a rock here as things stand, especially comparing to those ailing soft compound tyres. The prerogative at the moment for Razin and Ben will just be to keep this DRS train intact. Just cling onto the coattails of the leading duo in front and extend this as long as they possibly can to give themselves that strategic flexibility, especially when the rain hits.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's keen for, as part of Team Marduk's strategy, and indeed that of Racing Chai. I think they're just trying to bleed these soft tyres, just trying to get them out of the way almost, just to obviously give themselves a helping hand in terms of the strategy. Obviously, you'll have more cards to play with a medium tyre at the same time with a hard tyre as well. But like I say, we will be potentially moving on to that those wet weather compounds as well, very deep into the race. So there's going to be many questions raised. Ricky 03 is not wasting any time on his medium tyres. That's interesting. Boxing early off this compound, going very much early in comparison to even those on the softs, because obviously Team Marduk and Racing Chai continuing on their same stretch of rubber. 16 laps they've acquired on their softs. Not even Ryan L83 has come in. So that's a very bold decision from Ricky 03.
Yeah, and with the two teammates not really a factor at this stage, that might just be Ricky just trying to roll the dice to get himself in a position where maybe, if needs must, he can help out Lolanoba in the latter stages. Kareem 70 at the moment, -2 laps down on fuel, definitely lifting and coasting into those heavy braking zones, and actually talking about potentially letting Concept 7 go at the start of lap 18. So just keep an eye out on that one. Concept 7 is given the opportunity to blast past and maybe see what kind of pace he has in free air, considering he has got a significant more amount of fuel in that car.
I do wonder whether this is Ricky playing the Lolanoba game, obviously just trying to go early to try and benefit off the undercut, as Concept 7 now takes the lead of the race for the first time on track here at Interlagos. So no gap there for Karim to worry about, but very deep from Team Marduk there, as now Lolanoba is surely going to get a better run coming out of turn 3, and that could be a very grave mistake for Benjamin Daly, who, whilst he does have DRS, he's going to give the slipstream to the Italian stallion Lolanoba around the outside as they come down through turn 4, somehow, some way, defending the place here and now as they make their way out of turn 5. Very close, it has to be said. How on earth did Team Marduk prevent that move from happening? Lolanoba looked dead set out of turn 3 to get that move done.
Ben, very nearly the master of his own downfall. Just baited a little bit by Lolly into the braking zone of the center S's. That was what forced him to outbrake himself. Just sent him wide into the first part of it. Allowed Lolly the opportunity to try and cruise it around the outside of Desida del Lago. But we're still seeing Lolanoba thinking about the championship. Doesn't want to get embroiled in any games that could potentially throw it into question. Drop him down outside of the top 10, and then he's looking behind rather than forwards.
Yeah, of course. I think largely it's just protecting his position in the championship. I think you're absolutely right, Tom, as now we see Karim 70 at the inside of Concept 7. Back into the lead of the race goes the Aston Martin. The Williams now reduced to second, with Racing Chai 8/10 back. Rid Jokes has now moved up into 10th as well. There's Lolanoba. Obviously, could have very easily, I think, manufactured that overtake against Benjamin Daly in that last lap. Didn't seem too worried about it, though, here and now. But he might be worried about it this time. Benjamin Daly going ultra defensive and indeed squeezes contact with Lolanoba. Oh, my goodness me! And Lolanoba forced out wide through turn 4. That's going to be very contentious. Two cars coming together, the gap reduced greatly. He got onto the grass, he caught Benjamin Daly's car and ended up very nearly losing it altogether. Lolanoba very nearly at risk. Very, very close between our two championship contenders.
No damage, but most certainly a code red there for the Scarlet Ferrari. Ben, I think just moving back over to the racing line, Lolly had an overlap. Wasn't a significant overlap, despite Ben either recharging or he was completely out of ARS down the Retro Aposta. And that'll just put Lolly's eyes on stalks a little bit. If he was tentative racing Ben, that might just make him a little bit more tentative, as he now has to dispose of Infratic, who is another driver on these ailing soft compound tyres. Should be fairly regulationary, but anything can happen.
First contentious moment between the two drivers. Lolanoba, though, did lose 2 places effectively. That guy, Vincent Infratic, he's managed to get past Fabio, though. past the McLaren, coming down through the center S's, but a moment that could have ended so much worse for Lolinoba. After the contact with Benjamin Daly, the gap reduced greatly on the run down through towards turn 4. Concept 7 moves back into the lead of the race as Karim 17 continues to work with the Williams driver, and so much so that the gap is now inflated between them and Rasin Chai to 1.5 seconds. It's side by side between Fabio and Chris this time. Fabio, since losing a place to the Italian driver Lolinoba on this very lap, now sees himself under pressure from the Alpine of Chris. And bear in mind, Infratic also on that soft compound of tyre. They surely must be reaching the end of their life now as we move through towards lap 21. Will this instill a pit stop here for those on the softs here at this point on this opening stint? We'll find out now. It's 1.7 now for Razin. He's losing more and more time. Now might be the occasion for the RB driver to make his way into the pits, and I would not be surprised if he does pull the plug on this. Timet Marduk as well could follow suit. Rasin does come into the pits, so we do see one of our race leaders box finally off that soft compound of tyre.
You have a yellow flag, though, in the middle sector. That was down through Magulio. That's Ryan Lady 3 with a bit of a whoopsie. That could have sent shivers down the spine of Razin because a safety car there. Absolutely terrible timing. Infratic also seeking refuge in the pits to lay those soft compound tyres to rest. I'm surprised Ben didn't try and follow suit with Razin. Just keep that vibe going, working together nicely in the early stages. Just been joined at the hip, haven't they, for the first 20 laps or so. Just leaving himself out as the lone ranger on those soft compound tyres. Maybe a bit exposed to Vince, and in particular Lolinoba. Yellow flag out again. Is that for Ricky in the first couple of corners? Maybe just going slightly wide.
Yeah, no, I think so. Obviously, a little error is creeping in, as you would expect here at Brazil generally. It is a track that you are required to balance risk and reward effectively, and some have been punished, obviously, for the initial, of course, all that off. And we've seen it already, of course, throughout the entirety of the 21 laps that we, of course, witnessed. Fimix will tell you all about that, as well as Scotty Designs, by the way. Jakey also coming under fire in his own right. Of course, he's got a penalty right now, as does Ryan L. 83. Timet Marduk finally coming into the pits as well, a lap later than what we saw from Rasin Chai. So we'll see how that earlier stop will help Rasin Chai, who's since moved on to a hard compound of tyre. Now, I'm not sure whether Benjamin Daly is going to follow suit, whether he goes on the hard tyre for the latter until the rain comes. That is a very likely possibility, and indeed it is. Hard tyres for Benjamin Daly. Same can be said for Chris as well. And bear in mind, he moved off the medium tyre. So there we have it. I think their game plan is utilise the hard, good race tyre, but also at the same time, it allows them to monitor for that weather situation. When is that rain going to come?
And that undercut hasn't cost him anything. It's got him a lap fresher tyres compared to Razin. Still within the 1 second window, albeit having to go through the warm-up phase. The only issue is, Infratic behind, a little bit of divergence there. He's bolted on a set of the medium tyres, of course, started on the softs, now transitioning to the yellow striped tyre. And that could just throw a spanner in the works for Ben, because those mediums in these early stages are going to be quicker than the hards. And as we've seen in the first 22 laps, they are a strong race tyre. Yeah,
very strong race tyre indeed. And raw, I'm a lion, raw, says Infratic. Well, there we have it. Well, you know, he's a huge character in the Greer Series, is Fabio, of course, a former podium sitter in his own right, still chasing his first race win in the series. There was a time where he actually believed he was going to dominate the championship, as Lolinoba now surpasses that guy Vince. The Ferrari now into third place. The recovery is on for the Italian stallion, as now Tukey into the pits as well. Now we're looking for a change off his tyres, as now Lolinoba spears his way out of turn 5 and down through towards the sequence of rights and lefts that are about to come as he makes his way through the middle sector. Davide DeCipio, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is the last thing you need, especially in a close and contentious race like this.
Very easy to do at this circuit as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he isn't the first to fall foul of the pit lane speed limiter, because you arrive at such velocity in there. It used to be even faster because they added that little mini chicane about 10 years or so ago just to slow the cars down a little bit more. So you're arriving with a hell of a lot of speed, and you can just miss your braking point, and by inches you'll find yourself slapped with that 10-second penalty.
Absolutely right. Well, it's wheel to wheel again. Karim 70. Currently at the head of the order, lap 24 of 71. He jumps past Concept 7. Davide once again receiving a penalty, this time 3 seconds. Lolinoba is finally boxed as well. I can only fathom that this will be another hard tyre exercise here for Lolly. And indeed, as we watch him in the pits, he will move on to the hard tyres. So there we are, making his way out of the box this time. And will rejoin the circuit. Tim Marduk actually benefiting now off the back of the earlier stop, having more time on that hard compound rubber, heating it up and getting it to a level where it's optimal through the corners. And it looks like Chris is going to be very close as well to the front end of Lolinoba's car. They're going to come out almost side by side. In fact, Chris with enough leverage to burst on by the Ferrari. And there's work now for Lolinova to do to close the gap. But at least for now, he is within the points necessary to take the title.
Absolutely. And I don't think he'll be too perturbed by the fact that he is only 4 seconds off the back of the Raz and Tim Marduk and Emphatic trio. He can try and work with Chris, who's got some solid pace. Lit up the rear tyres, it has to be said, as he came down the pit lane to Lolly. So maybe still a little bit of nervous energy going on for the Italian stallion, but in a very comfortable position. Doesn't need to take any undue risk because he's got this championship in the palm of his hand. It's been gift wrapped to him with how he's performed throughout this season. Just needs to open it in the remaining 45 laps or so.
Absolutely. Well, as we now dissect the race and move our way through to the remaining laps, we can move across to Alex Heron, who's standing by for us with a clip.
Well, we certainly got the most controversial clip to start with, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a fantastic first half of this race. And Lolinova right now has got it all under control. But at this point, let's say he may have had a brown trouser moment. He's coming down the one of the main straights here, just going into turn 5. And you can see Ben slightly falls over to the right-hand side. Lolly putting up a nice thumbs up. I don't think in a less than sarcastic way. But yeah, that could have been a race ender if that had gone any differently. But luckily for him, not even a scrap of damage. And we have a look at what's happened to one of the teammates in this fight, Adam Sanderson. Early on lap 2, goes for a dive down the inside of Safso and just misjudges it ever so slightly and causes a couple of cars to, let's just say, try and dodge out the way. Jakey almost going directly into him there. Early on. And then just the other clip I have to show you before we get back to the main race was Lolinova's start, and he pulled it off absolutely perfectly on the start here. Didn't get into any trouble. This is literally all he needed to do at the start of this Grand Prix. Make sure he didn't get into trouble. Let Kareem past him, but then just sat perfectly behind the rest of them. But then a little bit further on did make a nice little overtake down the inside of Chris, moved himself up into the top 5. But so far, it's been a cracking race, and let's see what happens later on.
Your class. Thank you very much, Alex. We now rejoin with Kareem 17 now boxing and rejoining as we now observe him make his way down through towards turn 4 on lap 26 of 71. He now parks himself behind Chris and Lolinova, who incidentally made the move on Chris whilst we were talking to Alex. So he's now up into 7th, but has 3.5 seconds to find on Fabio in 6th place. But bear in mind, Fabio already boxing onto a set of medium tyres after his stint on the soft. So going very differently to what we saw from Rasin Chai and Tim Marduk, who are now looking to close up the gap together, of course. They are only at this start 6/10 between them right now, as we now observe Tim Marduk rising up through towards the Junsao section. Concept 7 now coming into the box as well, responding as the others pit too. That guy Vince will remain out for another lap. Safso also continuing around the track as well. So Rasin Chai, quintessentially, I'd imagine, should come out of this net leader of the race. So now we're seeing the strategies unfold. Quintessentially, your pole sitter, and the first pole sitter to come back and take 2 poles here at Brazil, is now effectively your net race leader here at Interlagos.
He's in a much better position when it comes to the fuel situation. He's got about a lap extra compared to Tim Marduk that Ben's going to have to save. He's 2.5 laps down. Razin a lap and a half down. Kareem as well in a little bit of a troublesome position, 2 laps down. Yes, the rain that will come will help these guys save that big chunk of fuel that they need to try and make up the deficit with, but that is just going to hamper their pace a little bit. It will help the tyre wear, and that may be an opportunity in this stint as we wait for the rain to come. Just back it off a little bit, look after these hard compound tyres, and ensure you can make it to the rain with the rubber left to see you around as it starts to fall.
Well, Chris making some of the best F1 game compilations, thankfully for him. Fabio is racing tonight, so it's easy money for him. Oh, poor Fabio. He's really getting strung up here this evening. But Chris obviously has been making content now for such a long time and has made many a compilation based on Grand Prix watch-alongs, etc. Now here with us as well in the Creator Series. Always great to have him here. Incidentally, I was also a team member with Chris back in the day. We were both part of Comrade Gaming back when we were at our heights as well. So great to see Chris here and racing with us, and now looking to try and hold back the force that is Karim 70, the Season 9 champion, looking to hunt down the Alpine racer here, coming down through towards turn 4. Of course, no move here for Karim to make. 3.2 seconds between that guy Vince and Season 1 champion Zafso in second. Rasin Chai 3.7 between himself and Zafso at the moment. But remember, Zafso, Rasin Chai's teammate, so maybe an opportunity here for Rasin to utilize his teammate here and now to benefit his position in terms of getting the race lead with an absolute out on track.
Could give himself a little bit of a leg up, yes. I don't think Ben at this stage has any interest in taking over from Raz. I think he's very happy to sit behind, save that fuel, save the tyres as the yellow flag's flying. That's for an Aston Martin in the middle sector. That's Scotty Designs on the run into Beaker to Pato, looping it round, not for the first time today, and dropping, or staying, I should say, in 19th position. Lap times are really interesting, though, because they're almost identical with that chasing group of Lolanoba, Chris, Cream 70. On the previous lap, half a tenth slower than Raz, and was Lolly at the front of that little train. Cream 70 a little bit slower, obviously just caught up to the back of it, so they're not taking too much time out of that group. This could be the opportunity, though, for Ben to move through as they close up to Saf, so disprove what I was saying, helping Anna DRS and flies past down the Retroposter. Yeah,
into third place. Lovely move there for Tim and Marduk. Of course, both he and Razin were working together on the opening stint to try and break the DRS. Quintessentially, they did manage to get as high as 1.2 seconds, but now they face a very different kind of fight. Chasing down after Safso this time, who is, of course, just in front of them. Net race leader now, Tiamat Marduk, as now they race down through towards the latter point on this particular lap. Lap 29 will soon become lap 30 of 71. We're looming closer to the middle sector as they now come up through towards Jun Chao and then through towards the Archibancadas past Sabiba Doz boxes. It is that guy Vince on track who leads, but now comes into the pits, and it looks like Zafso is pit bound as well, does not want to disrupt the two at the net race lead of the order, and now your absolute race leaders here right now. It's Tiamat Marduk leading the race here on lap 30 with Rasin Chai in second, and Fabio somehow digging himself into it as well. Remember, on a similar strategy to Benjamin Daly and Rasin Chai, but the main difference being he opted for the medium tyre as opposed to the hard. And we got a virtual safety car out on track as well. So yet more drama, a VSC called out on the circuit.
Jakey in the wars, dropping it out of Desida de Largo, missing that entire front wing. You can see him for the first time, a little bit of neutralization. I think he's just been brake checked by the Delta there, stopped on the circuit up the hill through Ferradura. I think he's also going to let the leaders go through. Hopefully no illegal overtake shenanigans going on. Razin having to back off there, so just got to be careful here. That might give Ben actually the opportunity to put a little bit of time between himself and Razin. Oh, it is a full safety car now.
Oh, the gap's gone. So, yeah. Oh, dearie me. It looked like it was going to be a positive for Benjamin Daly then for a brief second. Obviously, with the VSC coming to an end, and if they got back to full speed, that could have provided Ben with an opportunity to really break the DRS and lay the hammer down on the rest of the order, but not this time. Safety car, full safety car out on track, as now we see them make their way out of Junsao and across the top of the banking. Adam Sanderson with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is certainly less than ideal on his part. Surely now he has to help out his teammates somehow. I'm not sure what he can do really at this case, because of course he will be looking to catch up with the rest of the field, but we have seen some movement from our race leaders. Tiamat Marduk, Rasin Chai and Chris coming into the pits, and a 10-second time penalty for Rasin Chai as well. I tell you what, these penalties, they're throwing them around like sweeties at the moment here, Tom.
Been chucked around like they're going out of fashion. Doesn't serve the penalty there, so that will be a handicap Razin will hold for the next, well, considerable future, you would say, unless he boxes again under this safety car to get shot of that 10-second penalty. Not sure how he wants to play it, with the rain arriving in maybe around half an hour's time. Track position versus the 10-second penalty that he will serve if he does, or he will serve when he switches to the intermediate tyres, of course, if he doesn't opt to serve it under this safety car. Interesting divergence. Surprised that we've seen such a split. Infratic staying out on those mediums, leading the race, which you'll be absolutely loving. Like you said earlier, still looking for that first Creator Series victory. It'll now be Ben on the hunt, trying to force his way through, pick them off one by one and get up towards Lolanoba, Cream 70 and Concept 7.
And that's a legit lead here for Fabio, because of course he's only just not too long ago boxed onto those medium tyres. Dare I say, they have had 10 laps on them, but with the safety car, it does mean that their life is essentially conserved. Now, I'm going to put Alex Heron on the spot here. I hope he's ready for a brief chat. Alex, what's the latest? What are your thoughts? Safety car now. Fabio with the opportunity of his life, really, though he does have Lolinoba breathing down his neck.
Well, he certainly does. You definitely put me on the spot there, George, but I'm here, I'm ready. I don't have any new clips to show you, unfortunately, but yeah, no, it is very much in Infratic's favour here. Obviously, he just recently pitted, but he's on the medium tyres compared to the guys on the hards, so he needs to get himself moving straight away. Razin, with that time penalty, is at an absolute travesty right now to get himself a time penalty on that safety car, heading onto the soft tyres, which is an interesting choice here. But that rain is definitely on the horizon. I think, as you mentioned, Ty, it's about half an hour away. But this safety car is going to bring that time closer and closer. And I suspect we'll get quite a few laps of wet running towards the end of this Grand Prix. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I don't think it's over yet, but Lolinoba is definitely in the position to, let's say, win the title here.
Yeah, he's definitely in the pound seats, I think, at the moment. Obviously now observing Rasin Chai make his way out of the pits, basically serving the penalty under the safety car, has now been given a fresh set of medium tyres. So essentially has gone on to what Fabio has done, albeit though he has got 11 lap or 10 lap fresher tyres, or make that 11 lap fresher tyres than Fabio. So Rasin's going to be very quick. And I suppose, well, incidentally, no, he's gone on to the softs. I do apologise. Briefly there, it looked yellow on my screen. But yeah, soft tyres he's now moved on to, so he's going to be rapid coming through the latter point of this stint, therefore teeing him up for a run on the safety car. But can they extend as long as that, Tom? Because we don't know quite when that, when the rain is going to fall.
The tricky one. I'm partly expecting him to come back into the pits and bolt on the hard tyres that he only did a few laps on, one lap in fact, under the safety car. So just keep a watchful eye on that one. Rasin caught up to the back of Ryan Lady 3. Will he dive back into the pits? I think he will, to put on those hard tyres again. So just trying to limit the damage with that stop. Doesn't want to waste any of the good tyres that he's still got left in his back pocket, and that will drop him down only one further spot. He'll drop him behind Davide, you would imagine, but with the lap cars in there, I think it will be 15th at worst for Rasin when he re-emerges. Yeah,
so it's really, I suppose that he's mitigating the potential damage here, because Adam Sanderson's quite a way back. So huge chance for him to at least retain 15th. And obviously being on the hard tyres, it means he can quintessentially just burn them up in the closing stint of this race. At the moment, though, Infratic's still in control. Fimex has pulled over to the inside and just allowing cars to carry on by. Now, that's interesting. Obviously at this point, because generally, lap cars are obviously allowed to overtake, so they're just trying to reorder themselves into the correct fashion. But Fimex currently routed down in 19th at the moment. We are still under safety cars at the moment. I can tell you that the light rain, according to our telemetry, is scheduled in 24 minutes. That is when we are expecting it. That can, of course, change as time rolls on. Fabio, as of now, sits in front at the moment, obviously on 12-lap-old mediums. The benefit, though, for him, he's able to extend the life of that medium tyre, so you never know. This very much playing into Fabio's hands. Lolinoba, though, hasn't long boxed either. He has got 9-lap-old hards. They, of course, are going to be very much a better tyre in the next 5 to 6, 7 laps or so against Fabio. But it looks like we're going to have another lap under the safety car. And I tell you what, Karim 17 could cause a bit of a storm here against Lolinoba. Currently has the fastest lap of the race and 2-lap fresher tyres than Lolinoba himself.
Yeah, there's a lot of external factors that we are going to see play out in the second half of this race. Cream 70, traditionally very strong in wet weather conditions, was incredibly strong last time we raced here in Brazil when it did rain, and he was absolutely rapid. He was about half a second a lap to a second a lap faster than the rest of the field, albeit on realistic performance cars. So just bear that one in mind as Scotty Designs making his way through now to the front. That is where you will be allowed to pass the safety car if you're a lap car. The game doesn't currently have a system where the lap cars can just pull through, so you have to work your way to the front of the train with everybody else running off the circuit to make sure that there are no illegal overtakes that are going on. I think Adam Sanson has cleared it, and yet you can see at the bottom of the track map he is heading down the Retroposta. Scotty, as things stand, has not been allowed past the safety car yet, though.
No, he's not been given the clairvoyance to carry on, unfortunately for him, so therefore has to remain behind Bernd Mailander at this stage. Of course, we are here on lap 33 of 71. Not quite at the halfway point just yet, but we are creeping ever closer. Fabio with the race lead, Lolinoba in second. Obviously, do let us know in the live chat as to who you think is going to come out on top in terms of the championship. I can tell you the safety car is coming in this lap now. There is Scotty Designs just pulling over to the outside and off the circuit. He's not the only one. Jakey doing the same. So they're basically just trying to allow all those runners up at the front end clear track space, just so they can carry on and fight their race lead battle, of course. So it's Fabio in front. There's Lolinoba. Of course, it's all going to be on Infratic now to decide when we get back up to racing speed. So we'll wait and see as to who's going to get the better jump now, as we do indeed go green in terms of the flags. And indeed, now as they put the foot down, it's pedal to the metal once again here at Brazil. And it's Fabio who leads them down through to the center S's. That guy Vince on grid jokes coming through the first apex as well. Tim Marduk duking it out with the Alpine of Chris as well, as the better line coming out of turn 3. And Tim Marduk up into 7th place. Here comes Lolinoba. He's now in second, holding station against Fabio, not able to make the move, as now it's wheel to wheel between Sasso and Two Keys. Trying the switch back here, Sasso. Excellent move, and now looking to go wheel to wheel as they now race out of turn 5 through turn 6 and turn 7. He's going to hang around the outside and move past Tukey and into 10th place.
And Tim Marduk's just thrown it to the inside of Grid Jokes. I think he just got an overlap, but wasn't quite close enough to force the Sauber to get into his back pocket and drop down into 7th position. Still all over the back of the lime green car to the inside of Bico de Pato now. Does he have the overlap? Little bit of tyre locking on the exit as they head down through Magulio. And Tim Marduk has got that place one and done. Chris going to try and follow suit into Jung Xiao as well. And that is affirmative. He does get up a further spot. Sasso on those soft tyres as well. Going to be absolutely rapid for the next 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very tight at the moment. Lolinoba now looking to blast himself into the lead of this race, wheel to wheel with Fabio. Fabio, though, is going to defend this for all he's worth. And indeed he does. Hold station in the race lead position. Looking to try and take this to the bitter end. Obviously with Lolinoba chasing him down in a car that Fabio used to adorn in the Creator Series, was once a Ferrari ambassador. It's now wheel to wheel. Fabio shutting the door, but a switch back here for Lolinoba, and surely with that better line, the target line for Lolinoba. He takes the lead of the race. The championship leader in control as now Karim 70 goes hunting himself. Can't quite find the angle through the Laranjina or Ferragura, but it will be Lolinoba nonetheless, your leader here at Sao Paulo.
Just a little bit lively on the loud pedal there was Fabio coming out of Descida de Largo. Afforded Lolly the opportunity to get that overlap and the cutback. Bit of argy-bargy going on as Razin sinking his teeth into Davide, into Bico de Pato. There's just the space for the Haas on the outside. Turns to the inside of Magulio. Karim locks the rears, throws it to the inside of Jung Xiao. Infratic has to take avoiding action. That is a freebie for Concept 7 to lap up on a silver platter. And he now could be challenging the Aston Martin into turn 1.
Yeah, nothing that Fabio could really do there. He was almost shunted wide coming out of Jun Sao, and indeed that guy Vince is also going to take the opportunity that is presented for him. Fabio trying to go late on the brakes to conserve his spot. Very late indeed, almost front left, attaching itself to the rear right of that guy Vince's car. Here comes Tiamat Marduk with the DRS open as well. He's going to look to leverage his way past, and certainly does. Remember, of course, Tiamat Marduk's his first championship win in Season 6, granting him as well a team's title, and Fabio was his teammate back then as well. Obviously Infratic unable to contest against Benjamin Daly on the run out of turn 4, and now as they come down through towards the next apex, and indeed through towards the next left, they will make their way out of turn 9 through towards turn 10. It's Lolinoba now half a second clear of Karim 70. Those two old rivals now together. We look back at circuits such as Miami, where of course they crashed out together once crossing the line. Concept 7 in third, having a miraculous race, it has to be said, has been performing brilliantly so far on our trip to Interlagos. But just look at this from Chris now. He's going to be the next driver to look to take something away from Infratic now, battling over 6 as now they look to cross the line. Once again, it's nip and tuck at the front as Karim 70 blasts back into the lead of the race, takes it away from Lolinoba, and indeed up the inside, Chris surpassing Infratic and moves, or not quite, down in 7th place. Infratic holding station in 6.
I do fear, though, for the future of Fabio, still fighting like a lion, but with one hand tied behind his back. Lolly still in second. Tiamat Marduk to the inside of Desida Lago. Could it be position 4 through turn number 4? Vince tries to keep his foot in it around the outside, but eventually with the tyre advantage, that's Ben up into P4. They can now set his sights on Concept, and then the man that he has his target locked on, Lolanoba, championship leader. Remember, 25 points the difference. Ben basically has to win this race and get a whole load of bonus points with Lolly finishing outside the points.
Yeah, he needs absolutely everything to go his way. At the moment, there's Tiamat Marduk, and at the moment, that is not the case. Lolanoba will be a champion at this rate. We have surpassed the halfway point as now we ride on board with Lolanoba as he now storms up the hill through towards Junsao. And Concept 7 is the only stopgap in between the two championship rivals as now they come across the crest. Now look to make their way down towards the center S's again, but this time on lap 39 of 71. Lolanoba back up the inside and past Karim 70 once again. Back in front goes the Ferrari as they decline downhill and then through towards turn 3 before then taking the straight down through towards turn 4. Concept 7, then Tiamat Marduk, further back that guy Vince, Infratic, Chris, Ricky 03, Zafso, Grid Jokes. That's your top 10, all of them within DRS from P1 all the way down to P15 at the moment, with 3 drivers receiving penalties as well alike. Mango Slayer in the pits right now as well, so it looks like he's going to be opting for a change of tyres.
And Tiamat Marduk just under the microscope a little bit here from that guy Vince, who's not going to go down without a fight, just keeping the former 2-time champion very honest. But this battle between Lolly and Karim, that could get box office. Remember back to Hungary, a bare-knuckle brawl between the pair of them. Some of the best wheel-to-wheel racing we've ever seen in the Creator Series. 20 laps of full throttle action. If we get something even half as good as that, that is going to be an incredible climax to this Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah, be an incredible climax as well to the season itself. Obviously, we've seen quite an astonishing quality of driving between quite a few drivers at the front end of the rostrum, and it looks like that Lolanoba is going to try and take it all away. A race win to coincide with a championship win would be absolutely sensational. What a way to do it. Is now Rasin Chai moves up the inside. Of course, remember, moving on to the hard tyres after that brief stint on the softs. Obviously, that was only to serve his penalty. Well, now he moves into 12th place ahead of Tukey as now the hard tyres start to spring to life. Adam Sanderson looking to try and do the same as well, up the inside as well. This time around for the man on the mediums. He moves into 13th. Tukey dropped to 14th. And now looking to levy his way forward inside the top 10, but has quite a few cars to get through before he reaches that point. That guy Vince, who since lost out to Tiamat Marduk, is now coming under pressure again with Fabio, obviously just locked on in behind with Chris then as well. And then a gap of half a second, and Ricky 03 further back as Tiamat Marduk goes very late on the brakes to try to find an alternate line against Concept 7. Junsao, of course, could provide an opportunity again, just showing in the mirrors, just trying to apply pressure as best he can, obviously aware that currently Lolanoba is in a position to take this title and is well placed here to win it. Needs things to go his way, Tiamat Marduk. It's not just enough to win the race. He needs things to fall apart for Lolanoba. Here comes Chris, as now we see Karim 70 swap for the lead again. Lolanoba down in second, as we now ride on board here with the Italian. He gets a lovely run coming out of the center S's. I don't think he's going to quite make the move just yet, but may yet utilize DRS to make it happen once more. Not quite close enough yet. Quite happy to remain in behind. Lap 41 of 31, 30 to go. Rain due in just under 15 minutes.
And a big break in the DRS train as well. Fabio keeping Chris at bay through the center S's. Hold that because Tiamat Marduk to the inside of Ferragura. Just the smallest of gaps to place the Red Bull car now to the inside of turn number 8. Fresher tyres compared to the Williams of Concept. They've had a few tete-a-tetes this season, this pair. Are they going to run into trouble once more? Outside line, inside of Pico de Pato. Switching over, Concept just tries to get a foothold back in this scrap. Just forces Ben slightly wide, but he's got his wits about him. Excellent racing between the pair of them. Clinical move from Tiamat Marduk.
Yeah, brilliant move from Benjamin Daly. Had to be done. Now, nothing separates he and indeed Lolanoba, the two championship contenders, the two rivals, now manacled together. Half a second between them at this stage. The gaps are equal, in fact, near enough between Karim 70, Lolanoba and Tiamat Marduk. Lolly now on the tail of the Aston Martin as they descend downhill once more. I tell you what, Chris has been making moves. In fact, so has Rasin Chai, who was incidentally purple in the first sector over the course of the last lap. He's now managed to jump inside the top 10. That is exactly what we professed for both. Oh, my goodness, we've got a safety car. A safety car once again, and it looks like Jakey is officially gone. And Fimex, I think, has also had problems as well because he's had a penalty as well. The safety car now rejoins the circuit. Another complication, which means rain will just be around the corner. What a twist in this race.
And there will be some interesting thoughts going through the head of these drivers. Around 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more when we think the rain's going to arrive. Do you strap on the intermediate tyres while it's still dry? We've seen drivers do it to very, very strong effect in the past. Bolt on the inters in a safety car that's within striking distance of the rain appearing, and they gain a massive amount of time. Big, big foothold. They can get over the drivers around them. This is a big pivotal moment in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely is. And this could cause a real twist in terms of the strategies. In the meantime, whilst we watch the cars make their way around, I'm going to pull in Scott Taylor because we haven't heard enough from him. Scott, what's going on?
I am just here enjoying this race. I can't believe it. We're at the finale. It's getting a bit spicy as well with Lolly and Tia McMurdoch. I think the rain's obviously going to make quite a difference. But yeah, I'm just sitting here watching the finale going, oh, it's going to be a while since we have Creator Series back, and just reflecting on such a great season and just encouraging everyone in the chat, let us know your thoughts and make sure you're telling a friend about Creator Series, because how cool is this, George?
It is monumentally cool. Now, we've got rain coming in around about 12 minutes. I do dare say it's light rain. So this is where we start playing with gambles, I think, at this stage, especially with where the safety car has come out, when it's come out, etc. The laps that we're on, lap 43 of 71, it means that we're going to get a wider spell of rain or wet racing as opposed to what we thought we were going to get at the start of this race.
Yeah, 100%. And it definitely, it's like, when you get DRS, right, you can be a little bit slower and be kind of dragged along, but like when the rain's here, that's completely gone now. So this is just pure pace. Like, these drivers don't really practice the rain. It's not really a thing you do in this. You kind of just drive when it comes. So there's definitely going to be more of a pace difference between the top five.
Well, the thing is, by the time that the safety car obviously comes in, I mean, I'm telling you now, the proximity for rain is closing by the moment. We're now on 11 minutes until that time arises. I mean, Tom, what do you do in this situation?
It's a really tricky one. These guys that have gone for the soft compound tyres, I think that's a smart move. Fabio had to try and do something. He would have been going nowhere other than backwards, you would expect, for the rest of this stint. That's Kareem into the pits, I believe. Yes, Kareem 17 into the pit lane. Datko Vince into the pit lane as well. The skies have just darkened. Could this be for the green striped intermediate tyres? I can't imagine it'll be for anything else.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the green tyre for the green car, and indeed it will be. Intermediate tyres have been put on the car by Karim 70. Our first move onto intermediate tyres. He's not alone. That guy Vince doing the same. Adam Sanderson with a very bold move to go onto the inters. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to pull in Alex Heron in on this as well. Alex, how do you feel this is going? Would you do the same intermediate tyres right now?
Just thinking the same thing. Honestly, if you've got nothing to lose, you towards the back of the grid, stick on those intermediate tyres because there is rain coming. Just want to point out that Lolly has just set his downforce to 1 higher and told his crew to fit intermediate tyres on their next stop. I don't think he's coming in this lap, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few of those front runners think about it.
Yeah, it does seem unanimous, doesn't it, Tom?
I think this could be a box opposite call for Tia McMurdoch. He's got the intermediate tyres selected as well. Can't afford to just follow Lolinoba around. He's got to roll the dice, got to try and do something different to give himself the opportunity, perhaps, to get that leg up on Lolly.
Yeah, well, we'll soon find out. Lap 43 of 71, soon to be lap 44. We are creeping closer and closer to the tail end of this race. At the moment, Lolinoba yet to jump into the pits, much like Karim 70 and that guy Vince Adam Sanderson did. Obviously, whilst we're in the safety car, the drivers do have to essentially manage their delta, but it does look like that they're starting to catch up with the rear of the train, all but oh so steadily. We've got Fimex now making his way across the line. Obviously, in front of the safety car is going to be looking to catch up with the rest of the field. Lolinoba remaining out on track. I can tell you 9 minutes away from light rain, but we are expecting heavy storms later on. This rain isn't going to get lighter. It isn't going to remain tepid. It's going to get heavier. We have got more cars coming in. Grid Jokes as well. Mango Slayer. So Sauber and Haas have made a punt for a swap as well. They're going to move on to the intermediate tyres. There's still quite a few that are on slick compounds. Scott, I'm going to pull in a prediction from yourself. Where do you think this is going?
feel like Lolinova's just making all the right moves. I'm so surprised that Ben didn't try the opposite there, you know, and just get into the pits. Do you know what I will say, George? See Adam Sanderson, he's not the fastest driver on the grid, but he's done this time and time again where he makes the right call and going on to inters very early. So if he's went in, I got a funny feeling that might be the play.
Yeah, do you agree with that as well, Alex, in terms of that undercut? Adam Sanderson down in 14th at the moment, choosing for that jump onto the intermediate tyre, much like Karim 70 and that guy Vince on that very same lap. Do you think that based on where the safety car is currently situated, where the cars are currently situated, he's going to benefit from track position, surely, right?
I think he's going to have to. I mean, honestly, I'm saying with Scott, I'm surprised that Ben has not pulled the trigger there. It seems like a very Ben move to come in. But I was going to say, the safety car stays out, he should pull in. The safety car is going in this lap. I think for Ben's sake, he needs to get past Lolly and then think about very closely what he's going to do with his weather.
Well, safety car is indeed coming in, so they will be coming up to pace, but there's not any water necessarily on the circuit just yet, but it could be this lap that we see the raindrops fall. Lolinoba now starting to pull the pace up. He's not waiting around, certainly not going to wait till late to put the pedal back down to the floor, because we have hit pedal to the metal. It is once again go here at Brazil. Lolinoba coming through the SS section, being closely pursued by Tiamat Marduk, the two championship rivals once again together. How are those on the intermediate tyres going to cope, though? Further back on what looks to be so far a dry track. We haven't got light rain until 7 minutes time, as Davide now looks to hold position in P9. He's being close upon, though, by Safso, the Season 1 champ, wheel to wheel with the Haas this time over P9, and will look to carry the speed around the outside. Does so brilliantly. Safso into 9th place as they head down into the middle sector proper.
Davide getting swarmed. All these drivers around fitted brand new tyres under the safety car. They just weren't the intermediate compound. Have to watch for Karim 70, the guinea pig. He is the leader out on the inters, the leader of the intermediate brigade, as Infratic picks up another spot, this time at the expense of Ryan L83 into Bico de Pato. Still as we were out front with Lolly half a second or so away from Tiamat Marduk, as that's Tuki into Jing Xiao. Excellent move to pick up 10th place.
Yeah, they need it to be dry for quite a length longer, do those at the front, because obviously at the moment Karim 70 is going to get a monstrous undercut if the rain comes down soon and we move into winters conditions, as now Safso moves into 8th place, Ryan L83 down into 9th, so the RB on the move on the hard tyres, as Lolinoba still continues out in front with Tiamat Marduk trying to close him down. Here comes Fabio now with a move on Razin Chai as they now sprint down through towards turn 4. Fabio now holding station in 6th. They're going to close the gap on Ricky in 5th place. Of course, the tyres that Fabio's currently utilising are 4-lap-old softs, so he's going to be extremely quick, and he needs to make use of it now, whilst, of course, the track is dry, and he will indeed have a look down the inside as well. That was very nearly a late move that could have ended in catastrophe. Obviously, Fabio very keen to make places, as he so rightly should be. Can't afford to linger. Up the inside he goes again, past Ricky 03. He's making these soft tyres work, because he must. Track position essential before they move on to that intermediate tyre.
This could be a strategy that gets him back on the podium, could save his race, as Chris on all the wrong parts of the racetrack going through Jung Xiao. This should be a fairly elementary move again for Infratic. DRS for both cars, bit of battery, good run out of the final corner as well. Chris not going to fight it one bit. Over to the right-hand side of the circuit, P4, and the fastest lap to the name of Infratic now. Brilliant lap there from Infratic. He's just overcooked, though, the first corner coming in towards turn 1, but he's managed to rescue it slightly. Chris, though, will have the benefits of DRS. The clouds now starting to loom across the top of the sky, as now we see them come down through towards turn 4 again. Tiamat Marduk pouncing on Lolinoba and takes the lead away from the Italian. So it's now Tiamat Marduk who leads here at Brazil. Both the drivers currently on slick compound of tyre, but of course Benjamin Daly on fresher tyres than Lolinoba right now. 17 laps applied to Tiamat Marduk's compound. For Lolinoba it's slightly different, 24 on his. 7 laps apart, with Concept 7 on 21 lap old tyres. 3 laps fresher than Lolinoba, as we now watch Ricky 03 all over the back of Razin Chai. Razin Chai, he himself, 15-lap-old hard's got 2 laps fresher than Ricky 03's Ferrari now, as they head up through towards Junsao. Lap 48 of 71 soon to begin, lap 49 of 71. I do wonder here, Tom, whether the reason why they haven't jumped onto that said compound, of course the rain falling now, are they waiting for the wets, do you think? It's a possibility. The rain just starting to spit. You can see the streaks on the halo. That's the telltale sign. Where are the intermediate runners? Cream 17, 12.5 seconds off the lead as things stand. That will continue to balloon over the next lap, maybe lap and a half. It's just when the crossover period comes, how heavy is this rain going to fall? If we think it is going to be stormy conditions, the drivers have got to be very careful.
Yeah, because it could mean that the intermediate tyre won't cut it, and they will have to try the wet tyre, and especially now this race has been elongated through the number of safety cars we've witnessed through the course of this Brazilian race, and there's every chance that could be the case. As now Fabio again up the inside on the soft tyres. My goodness, he has been tremendous and brave on them here in this particular stint, and is indeed going to try and feather the throttle around the outside. Concept 7 may not have an answer against Fabio here and now as he makes his way through, with the raindrops now falling here and into Lagos. Fabio in the podium places on track right now, but of course remember, when will the pit stops be applied? Will they come in now? Tim Marduk up the hill at Junsao. Surely they've got to pull the plug at some point as the drops continue to fall, the track gets damper, and indeed Tim Marduk will continue on yet another lap. In fact, the top 3 remain out on circuit.
Chris into the box though, along with everybody behind, almost gets a swapper on as he brakes in the treacherous conditions. Hearing Lolanover as well with some technical OBS difficulties. He's got 4 screens up at the moment as Ryan Lady 3, another to fall foul of the 10-second speeding penalty. That rain has come at the right time for the intermediate runners. They are going to have the track position, but driving around on the dry circuit on the intermediates, they're going to be burning up those tyres. They're going to be a significant disadvantage as those guys come out on fresh rubber.
Yeah, and especially if the stormy conditions continue to come down, if it gets heavier and heavier to the point where wet tyres are a thing, then we could be facing a very different race altogether. But Chris, Safso, Ricky 03, Tuki, Davide, Ryan L83, Fimex, and Scotty Designs. Of course, Scotty currently out on intermediates as well as it stands. It's a 10-second time penalty again for Fimex. Here and now, again, it gets worse for him, along with the 3 seconds that he managed to obtain as well not too long ago. It's more misery for the Williams driver as we now watch them make their way uphill. Surely the top 3, and in fact the rest of the grid, have got to come into the pits here and now. The rain continuing to fall. They're all slipping and sliding out there, but Benjamin Daly staying out on track. Big call by the championship leaders, and Fabio doing the same. Concept 7's had enough. He's coming in for a pit stop onto the Inters, no less.
Fabio thinking he can maybe still pick up a place here because Lolanoba grappling for grip, really struggling. 27 laps on his hard compound tyres, although it's Fabio getting out of shape, coming through the center S's in the slipstream. Down the Retroposta, but not close enough, not got any battery left either, Fabio, on the soft compound tyres. Let's not forget, Kareem 17, 14 seconds further back down the road. And then you've got the drives that are now on the fresh intermediates. The leader of those is Chris, and he's around about 6, 7, 8 seconds away from Kareem.
I'll tell you what, Benjamin Daly's proving to be a king in the wets here against Lolanoba. He's already managed to amass a second now on the Ferrari in second place. So Lolanoba obviously facing the likelihood that he could leave the rear of Tim Marduk, and therefore if he's not as, shall we say, prudent in the wet weather as opposed to other drivers, obviously Fabio right on his tail as well, it could mean that he could fall foul to not only the cars behind, but also in terms of how the strategy is unfolding, because obviously Karim 17 is going to benefit with all those boxing late onto the intermediate tyre, whereas of course he has acquired probably likely a lot of wear on the compounders. Now finally we see them come in. Tim Marduk, Lolanoba both coming in at the same time, so they will swap on to a wet selection of tyres, most likely the intermediate variety, as now we see Karim 17 surely about to take the on-track lead here in this race. That guy Vince following suit as well. Indeed, it is intermediate tyres for Tim Marduk and Lolanoba. And of course, Rasin Chai will do the same as well. Karim 17, though, your race leader, your absolute race leader here and now. That guy Vince in second, chasing a second Creator Series victory.
How long it lasts for, though, that's a different question entirely. Adam Sanderson's been dropped completely, falling out behind Grid Jokes. There is Tim Marduk. There is Lolanoba spat out of the pits into the path of the traffic. Behind Grid Jokes is Adam Sanderson with his eyes turned to dinner plates here as he looks to the outside of Desida de Lago. Doesn't have the overlap to just force Lolanoba into a defensive manoeuvre, and he's got Fabio to deal with as well as the back end of his car.
Yeah, they've all now started to jumble together. Fabio's committing to that inside. Bear in mind, he's on the fresher intermediate tyres. More grip, and therefore, 6th place going the way of Fabio. Not by much in terms of grip, but enough to allow Fabio to continue through. And the Portuguese driver is now on the tail of Lolanoba and could yet be a thorn in the side of our championship leader in his quest to try and take down Tiamat Marduk. That lead that Benjamin Daly had coming into the pits, enough to stick Grid Jokes in between he and Lolinober at this time. That again allowing yet further delta in the gap between himself and Lolly as they look to battle over the remaining points this season in our final race in Season 12. It's Karim 70 though out in front. That guy Vince following suit. There is Tiamat Marduk in the background, and he is closing like a train. The front two have used and abused their tyres. Lolinober on fresh rubber as well, looking to the inside against Grid Jokes. Grid Jokes though is going to take him all the way. Coming through the center S's, leaving it later on the outside. Lolinober, the Italian stallion, galloping now onwards in fourth. Brilliant run, brilliant move, heading downhill, and Fabio now looking to do the same down the inside of turn 4 from the McLaren, and he moves into 5th.
Current Ferrari driver flies through. Former Ferrari driver flies through as well. Interesting happenings as Rasenchai has also passed Adam Sanderson, who continues to struggle. I think Concept 7 having it out with Sanderson also into turns 6 and 7. Chris very much in this game as well. Adam Sanderson, the bottleneck on those older intermediate tyres, really struggling for grip. The problem with the rain for Tiamat Marduk, though, is it almost guarantees that he's not going to get the fastest lap point. Shaking the back of the Red Bull once again is Adam Sanderson. Oversteer lap after lap. Chris drops it into Bika de Bato behind. Manages to keep it pointing just about in the right direction. To the outside of Magulio. Contact between Concept and Adam Sanderson. Somehow both of them still on the black stuff.
Sanderson's rear end really did step out then, didn't it not? I tell you what, we got Chris now on the tail of him right now, I'm sure, licking his lips at the prospect of making this overtake happen. As now here on lap 54, they look to once again pursue onwards down through towards turn 1. It is at the moment Karim 70 in control, albeit for now that guy Vince still there, as now we see a move once more with Chris at the inside of Sanderson coming through turn 1. They've now locked wheels together as now Sanderson looks to once again take it back, but Chris is not going to go down without a fight. Here comes Sanderson again with a run round the outside as they now venture out of turn 3 and down through towards turn 4. Once again Sanderson for the Red Bull team, wheel-to-wheel contact as they make their way out into Cidia del Lago. Chris with a better exit though, and looks to carry the momentum through, heading down through towards the Ferragina and Larangina, but Sanderson surely with a better line. No, Chris feathering that throttle, taking the long way round against the Red Bull now. They're wheel-to-wheel again as they head down through SA corner. They'll stay side by side through the next section as well, coming out of turn 8 and through turn 9 before hitting turn 10 at Pico de Pato. Sanderson sending it up the inside. Surely will find the speed. No, it's Chris. Chris takes it back. P9 for the Alpine.
Well, driving it like it's an Audi Quattro there in the middle sector, lighting up the rear tyres, traction zone after traction zone after traction zone, Chris, but clearly confident with a loud pedal, and finally putting Adam Sanderson into his back pocket, who's got to deal with Season 1 champion Safso. Daka Vince is just lacking a little bit of pace compared to Karim 70. Tiamat Marduk got his tyres up and working nicely as well. Took half a second out of Vince on the previous tour. You can see Safso getting close to the back of the white ball, the Suzuka special livery, into turn 1.
Yeah, it's getting very, very tight. And Safso now with every eye on Sanderson's rear end on that Red Bull. Of course, it won't be long before he pulls the plug if he maintains this level of pace. Obviously on 5-lap-old inters against Sanderson's 11 laps at this stage. Of course, further up now, that guy Vince has actually moved past Karim 17. Now that's compelling because the gap was quite voluminous between Vince and Karim. Karim, I can only fathom, making a mistake, Tom, and now sinking into second.
He's nearly dropped it up the hill through Ferragina. Very lucky to keep it very much in the race, but that just brings Tiamat Marduk back into the equation a little bit more. And Lolly under severe pressure here from Infratic as well, who's got the bit between his teeth, chasing maybe a return to the podium. Back of the car, stepping out ever so slightly through the tricky downhill turn 11 of Magulio. Grid Jokes and Razin not too far behind them either. Feels like everybody's just converging on each other here as the rain, as we know, is just going to get heavier and heavier.
Yeah, and I think definitely that stint on those inters, that's those same inters that he has right now during the dry, has obviously really hit their tyre life very hard indeed. And no question, despite there only being 11 laps applied, make that 12 now, surely that activity on what was a dry track has decimated the walls of that intermediate tyre, therefore allowing an avenue now for Tiamat Marduk to get back to within the top 2 in this battle. We got heavy rain coming inside the next 10 minutes, and it could come quicker than that. There could be a chance for yet another spoke in the wheel. You never know. Maybe Inter's won't be usable. Maybe it will require a run on the wet tyres. We'll have to find out. Karim now looking to try and dig a little deeper. Tiamat Mardik very nearly within a second. He is within a second now. Within 9/10, Tiamat Mardik, the Red Bull, now on much fresher tyres that did not touch a dry track, and now getting closer and closer to the back of Karim 70 and that guy Vince by extension.
I hope you're ready for the last 15 laps, everybody. This could get interesting because we know, as they are in real life, the wet weather tyres, the blue wool tyres, not a good compound to be on. The drivers don't like it. They feel really horrible to drive on as well. So will anybody take the punt to go on the wet tyres if this storm is as, well, substantial and monsoonal as we potentially think it might be?
Well, that's what they're suggesting. At the moment, 9 minutes away from heavy rain, and if it does stand on the circuit, then we are going to see potentially blue wall tyres here at Interlagos. As now we see a battle for the lead once again ensue. It's that guy Vince who's now moved to the inside of the Mercedes, running on board with Karim 70 through towards turn 4, and then out of turn 5. I'm not sure whether he's going to make this work. They're going to make a little bit of contact here. The front left to the side pod of the Mercedes of that guy Vince, but he's able to hold on to the lead for now, and all this inviting Tiamat Mardik back in. Lolinova currently 2 seconds away from Tiamat Mardik, down in 3rd place now. And just look at this, he's getting really close to the back of the Aston. Here and now, Davide De Scipio, 3 seconds of time penalties applied now for multiple warnings. So that now builds it to 16 seconds in total. Well, 16 seconds at the moment for Ryan L, 83, but for Davide himself, that is incidentally 6 seconds that he has now managed to attribute himself. Of course, not having that speeding in the pit lane, 10 seconds applied against his name like a few drivers have below him. But we're now watching them make their way over the crest, past the Archibancaris. Chris now with a 3-second time penalty. Our only driver with a penalty inside the top 10 as now we begin the next lap. Lap 58 of 71. That guy Vince, Karim 70, Tiamat Mardik, your top 3. Lolinova not catching any of these drivers right now. Still situated down in 4th. And currently, it looks like Ben is better in the wet.
Got to get through these cars, though. Remember, to have any chance of this championship, Tiamat Mardik must win the race with the fastest lap point out of the window. He's going to have to bank on getting the cleanest driver point as well, and hope that Lolinova falls outside of the top 15 and the top 4. None of them have picked up warnings yet in this race. So that extra point, if some maladies do befall Lolinova in the remaining 15 laps, that'll be absolutely critical, as well as Karim still under pressure. He just doesn't look as comfortable as he did maybe 5 or 6 laps ago. I think that little mistake through Ferradura has just left him a little bit tentative and a little bit unsure about what that car is doing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's concerning him greatly. Obviously, Lolinova just trying to hang on and just, you know, make it so it's quintessentially a clean run right to the checkered flag. We do have, of course, 13 laps or so to bring you before we do reach the very end of this race. Lolinova still remains 2 seconds, and that's a gap that has generally been the sticking points in between both Tiamat Mardik and Lolinova for now, but sits down in 4th place with Infratic on his tail, 6/10 between those two, as they now look to resume their next lap, lap 59 of 71. That guy Vince, Karim 70, Tiamat Mardik, your top 3 at the moment. Obviously no signs of any chaos elsewhere at the moment. Obviously, we are questioning, though, how the rain is going to develop, because in the next 6 minutes, we're anticipating the heavy rain to come into play, in which case the track is going to be an utter, well, there's going to be a deluge out there. It's going to be a flood. There is going to be puddles of standing water for these drivers to negotiate. Tiamat Mardik getting a lovely exit, though, out of turn 5, and indeed all over the back of Karim 70, and I get the feeling that the next corner could present an opportunity. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, maybe get the switch back now, coming downstairs through towards the next left at turn 9 as well. Karim 70 shutting the door, this all helping Lolinova to try and creep into this battle as well, because now the gap down to 1.7, so only helping the Ferrari here at this stage.
And allowed Vince just to stretch his legs a little bit out in front, gap extending to just over 1 second, as that was millimetrically perfect on the defence there for Karim 70, keeping Tiamat Mardik at bay for the time being. We're getting to the point where He's got absolutely nothing to lose now, with Lolly all but certain to finish at worst, you would say, 7th in this race, with Infratic, Grid Jokes and Raz and Chai in the train. Got to try and pull something, pull the punches, give himself the smallest of opportunities. Looks to the inside of the centre S, but Kareem 17, one of the best under braking, can once again keep the Red Bull at arm's length.
Yeah, for now, just trying to manage the track situation at the moment, Kareem 17, but at the same token, doesn't want to allow Team at Marduk a sniff of an opportunity to get by. And obviously, the tyre differential between these two drivers is quite massive. And I have to tell you, Lolinoba, obviously with better tyres than Karim and that guy Vince as well by extension, as we now see them make their way down through towards the Ferragura, out of the Larangina as well at the same time before they hit the SA corner at turn 8, and then in towards turn 9, where they'll then cross in towards turn 10 after that, where Pico de Pato is situated. Lolinoba now 1.2 away from Tiamat Marduk. Benjamin Daly trying to creep ever closer to the back of Karim, who is now once again on that Red Bull front wing. Benjamin Daly with that rear end sliding away from him as they now creep uphill once more through towards Jun Chao. And very soon it will be lap 61 of 71, 10 laps to go in this Brazilian Grand Prix extravaganza, the season finale here in the Creator Series Season 12. That guy Vince now going full send down through towards turn 1 with Karim 17 just on his tail. Then another 4 to 5 tenths comes Tiamat Marduk, a gap then of 1.1 seconds to then Lolinoba and Fabio, who I must say has driven an impeccable race and chasing an incredible podium as well by extension too, because he too on much better tyres than that guy Vince and Karim 17.
They were 4 tenths of a second quicker than the leading trio on the previous lap, as Adam Sanderson's just bumped outside of the top 10, courtesy of the recovering Season 1 champion Safso, who gets up ahead of the teammate of Tiamat Marduk. Then you've got the teammate of Lolinoba now setting off in hot pursuit, hot-footing it after Adam Sanderson in the battle for 11th and 12th. All of the top 5 now within a second of each other, and Grid Jokes and Razin not too far back down the road either. This could be 7 drivers converging on each other as the rain is about to hit heavier.
It is getting very heavy. 3 minutes away, we suspect. So in the next lap or so, we will see the rain get a lot worse as they now head uphill. Soon to begin lap 62. That guy Vince, who, like we said, has not won since the Netherlands. Of course, going back a season or so ago, where he picked up his first ever victory in the Creator Series. And what an occasion it was for him. Karim 17 looking to close that gap, though. Of course, a former champion from Season 9 and looking to recover what has been lost form ever since then, largely. And currently sits 3rd in the championship, of course, outside of the scope for the championship title this season, as Rasin Chai goes late on the brakes. Down through turn 1 against Grid Jokes. Now half a 10 separate them, as now Rasin Chai flurries out of turn 3 and down through towards turn 4. Will hold on to that P6 position. Great move from the Racing Bull. And further up, Karim 17 getting close to the back of that guy Vince. They're starting to concertina up now, the top 5. It is going to be a mean-spirited fight. Lolinoba, if anything, now starting to drop away from Tiamat Marduk again, and Benjamin Daly hot on the heels this time of Karim 17, probably favouring, looking for that switchback again that didn't pay off last time. Karim 17 sliding, slipping all over the circuit. We're now a minute away from heavy rain, and Benjamin Daly with the run up the inside now as they look to cruise through towards Pico de Pato, and the inside line for Ben now will look to add him. Well, P2 in his favour. They're going to stay wheel to wheel on the run out through towards Jun Chao. The elevation change. Karim holds him back. Somehow, some way, the Aston Martin putting him to bed.
How has Karim still got that position in his grasp? Deja vu pretty much. Yellow flags out. Scotty Designs in the wall. Is he collected? No.
Safety car.
Collected, and we've got a safety car. Oh, as the rain starts to fall even heavier, that makes life even harder for some of these drivers.
So Scotty Designs has now barreled out of the race. A safety car, full course yellow. Heavy rain has now arrived. Surely that means another pit stop for these drivers. Will it be the case that we see the wets? High drama here. Incredible stuff. Now, I'm not sure whether Alex Heron is available. Alex, have you got any news for us?
Yeah, I'm just grabbing that clip to see if it was a intentional safety car. or if it was a unintentional safety car, and then I'll find out. No, it was an intentional safety car. So we'll go to the only clip we have, which is actually back quite a few laps ago before the rain happened, which was, well, I think, Tom, you mentioned it, Kareem had a little bit of a problem, which lost him the lead, and that was the case. He very much could have gone sailing into the wall. If that was in the heavy rain, he could have easily aquaplaned off into the wall, but luckily for him, he held it nicely. Doing a great job ever since. But yeah, this heavy rain is here. This could really spice up the rest of this race. Don't count out Infratic for his first Grand Prix victory here. He is right in this mix, and with this heavy rain, anything can happen.
Absolutely right. I mean, that is absolutely sensational. He's very lucky, is he not, Kareem 70 here, Tom? Very close to binning it. It could have ended in tears for the former champ. Instead, we're now in a complexion where we have now got quite a few drivers that could yet stick their nose in for the race win. Rasin Chai has quintessentially thrown himself back into the market because now he's P6. The Delta's now all constrained. Big question marks as to what they're going to do pit stop-wise, or whether they're just going to hang these until the end. I can already see the wet tyres have made an appearance because Adam Sanderson, Mango, Ryan and Fimex have all opted for the wets. They're essentially stacking their chips to the centre of the table.
Absolutely. Safso as well on a brand new set of the intermediate tyres. So a little bit of a difference there as well. Season 1 champion doesn't fancy the blue walled compounds. He will continue to barrel around and I think pick up another spot there with Davide also in the pits. Will that be for the wet tyres as well? We'll wait for the game to tell us it's a change. No, brand new set of intermediates going on again. And also tells us how important it was for Kareem 70 to hold firm in second, keep Tim McMardock behind him as well. Means that Ben, he's got even fewer laps to try and work his way past Kareem and Vince and then hope that something happens to Lolly behind to keep those, well, what, 0.001% chances of picking up this title alive now?
Well, it does look like, though, that Ben is better in the wet from what we've seen. I mean, he seems to develop the Delta much more successfully, builds the gap between himself and Lolinoba. So generally, it does seem to me that he is far more comfortable in the wet weather conditions than Lolinoba is. Obviously, the big question is what do they do tyre-wise? Do they choose that wet tyre? Do they opt to stay on the same intermediate tyre they had before? I mean, I can't imagine. It's going to be a tough end to this race if you're that guy Vincent Kareem 17. They've already amassed 20 laps on their tyres. They drove them during dry conditions. They've got to take them yet another 6 laps, 7 laps or so. And the conditions now are worse than they have been, you know, a lot worse since the very point they put the intermediate tyres on to begin with. So they're going to be really up against it now in this situation. Obviously, you'd fancy Tim McMardock and Lolinoba and Infratic and Racing and Grid Jokes maybe, you know, more than Vince and Karim at this point. You know, surely those tyres aren't going to do them justice. Indeed, I'm wondering now, is Karim still out? He's actually gone very late into turn 1. They're going to be really struggling with grip out there.
It's going to be very treacherous for both of them, especially with what's at stake. Dak Vince doesn't usually find himself in this position in the Creator Series in a race victory. That'll mean a hell of a lot to him, so he's going to be putting up a staunch defence of that first place. Kareem 70, pole sitter technically, set the fastest time in qualifying, bumped down to P6 with a grid penalty, and then you've got Ben Daly chasing that third championship. I'm not surprised that they've all decided to stay out, but it could get a little bit sketchy, especially for that lead duo.
Yeah, obviously Fabio is still with the fastest lap of the race, and I don't think he's going to lose it because, of course, he set that on soft tyres earlier on as well. So congratulations to Fabio on that, who is, of course, chasing his first official race win. His last race, of course, was his 130th Creator Series outing, his 130th Creator Series race. So here at race 131, and it could be the one that brings him a potential big result, whether that be a podium or indeed a race win. He is well placed to attack the front end, but obviously is in amongst the big title battle between Tim McMardock and Lolinoba. At the moment, though, we are on lap 65 of 71. No movements from the sharp end in terms of changing onto another set of tyres. The safety car will be coming in this lap, so this will surely take us to the end of the race. And dare I say, I think we just witnessed Tim McMardock having a little moment at Junção, just running a little bit late through the penultimate corners, and manages to regather himself at the very least. But it's all going to be down now to that guy Vince to take them down through towards turn 1 with Karim 70 in tow. He is going to put his foot to the floor, that guy Vince, and put pedal to the metal. What we can only fathom is for the final time in this race now as they fly down through towards turn 1. Karim is going to leave it, certainly. Well, he's not going to leave it late because he's now planted the car in front here of the Mercedes now, and Tim McMahon also getting a reasonable getaway. Now chasing after the front two. We're on lap 66 of 71. Karim now leads after the move against that guy Vince that has now sent him to the front of the field. Lolinoba watching all of this unfold has got the best seats in the house, but in Fratic, a royal pain in his behind, trying to get past him here with Rasin Chai also looking mean and quick. He's cruising up on Fabio as well, half a tenth between those two at the moment, but Rasin pulling the plug. He may not pull the plug though into the next corner. Will he leave it late again? No. Fabio shutting that door, ensuring he remains in 5th, but this is going to be a furious end to this Brazilian Grand Prix.
Real punchy start. We've got to watch for these wet runners as well. Adam Sanderson's already made up a couple of places on the wet weather tyre. Contact between Safso and Davide behind, all over the back of Tuka, but he is missing his right-hand end plate on the front wing, and that's going to be a significant drop in downforce.
It certainly will be. The grip that you need as well to get around this Brazilian circuit, let alone in conditions such as this. Tim Marek now making his way through past Archie Bancardis, Lolinoba in tow as well. Your two championship contenders moving closer and closer to that front end. The question is, how long can Karim 17 and that guy Vince hold out with those on better tyres in behind, looking to leap after them so far? And just look at that, the rear stepping out on Karim 17's car once more. It is all over the place at Aston Martin. How long can he hold on to this?
This is really wet. Through the Retroposta, through the Curva de Sol, having to lift off, having to get off the throttle, avoiding the curves as well, because they will spit you violently into the Armco that tracks you all the way around the circuit. Good run through Descida de Lago for Tim McMahon, but Vince just about has an advantage. Big swapper for Fabio in the background. Think he kept it on the road, but almost found himself pirouetting up towards Ferragura.
Yeah, very, very tight. And once again, cars are stepping out all over the place, especially those at the front end, those that have used and abused their tyres so far. We're on lap 67, 4 laps away from the checkered flag. There is Benjamin Daly, second in the championship. The gap currently standing at 24 points in accordance to our spreadsheet coming into the final race of the season. After the sprint race that we witnessed, Tim McMahon going to the bitter end as your winner. Lolinoba not scoring in said sprint race and therefore leaving us in this position where we now must decide the champion. Will it be Lolinoba for the very first time in the Creator Series? It would mean a lot to the Italian driver to do this in a Ferrari as well, as he looks to try and catch Tim McMahon and look to put an end to this furious battle that they have had this season. Karim 17 whipping the tail out, once again coming through the center S's, with that guy Vince looking to close him down and try and reply in an order to garner his second Creator Series victory. So many storylines, so many compelling moments we have witnessed so far in the Creator Series. We're about to write some more as they come through turn 4 here on lap 68.
Almost feels like the perfect place for a coronation. Anybody? We've had 7 champions in the Creator Series before. We could be crowning an 8th, because Lolinoba with just 3.5 more laps to negotiate. But as the rain continues to fall heavily, look at how difficult it is, dancing on the finite edge of grip up through Ferragura and Laranjin, and then into the tricky braking zone of turn 8 as well. Such a difficult balancing act to keep it on the circuit when you've got all this pressure and weight on your shoulders as well.
Yeah, it's very, very tough out there. It is so slippery. You can just see there Lolinoba twisting the wheel, trying to find any ounce of grip possible on these intermediate tyres. Same can be said for Tim Marek in third as well. These two, of course, coming together earlier on in the race. Benjamin Daly getting a nice run out of Jun Sao, trying to get closer to the back of that guy Vince this time. Obviously now Karim 17 in control of the race lead. 0.8 of a second now, approximately the gap. It is coming down to 7.5 tenths between Karim and that guy Vince as they storm down through towards turn 1 in the stormy conditions. Fabio, though, driving an impeccable race on his part, trying to close up to the front 4, just trying to find anything in a bid to try and nail a podium. Here in this case, of course, has currently got 5 podiums against his name. He would love to make it 6 here and now, and we are on lap 69, heading in towards turn 4 this time around. Karim 17, 0.8 of a second. He's starting to find time here against that guy Vince, so this might help Karim's cause.
Potentially. Feels like we're in a bit of a stalemate position at the moment. Drivers just digging themselves in to hold on to what they have. Lolinoba, especially in fourth, is not going to take any undue risk, has absolutely no interest at all in attacking the Red Bull that sits in front of him. Fourth place will be more than enough. He'd have to drop another 10 places to even be at risk of losing this championship. And for Tim McMahon, the clock continues to tick down and the time continues to run out. He's not just sat down at the last chance to lose, he's already ordered, he's getting final order from the barman. I think time is just running out for that third championship. Needs a lot to go right in his final 2 laps.
Absolutely. Well, Lolinoba now outside of a second. He's starting to fall off. Obviously, that wet weather not helping Lolinoba's cause in trying to remain on the tail of Tiamat Marduk. Benjamin Daly knows it's all or nothing here at this stage now. Lap 69 of 71. Next lap, penultimate lap of the race. Karim 70 heading down through towards the center S's for the first occasion. He will take a corner here on lap 70 of 71 and then head out of turn 3 eventually after turn 2. And then it's down the Retta Reposta before meeting Decidia de Largo. That guy Vince no way near in a position to make a move. And in fact, Tim Marduk a little bit closer to Vince this time around as opposed to Vince is to Karim. Lolinoba just about remaining within a second as they come out of Decidia de Largo. Now through towards the Laurangina out of the Ferradura. Out of turn 5 through towards turn 6. This sweeping section of circuit now before then reaching the very tight and twisty middle sector where you'll meet corners such as SA, such as the Magurlo corner after Bico de Pato. It gets so snug. Davide with another penalty against his name as well. We've seen quite a few already today, and he's yet again amassed another one. So it's been a poor day at the office for poor Davide, who is learning as he goes. 9 seconds against his name as Lolly looks to dig closer again. He's still within a second. He's doing well. This is all he needs to do to take the title.
Just needs to negotiate the final lap. 71 of 71. He's got pressure from Fabio behind, but with Ben still in position number 3, you have to commend his championship assault. 2 wins this season, his most since his last championship all the way back on F1 24. He's doubled his win tally on F1 25 this season for Tim Marduk after a really long dry spell. He had just 1 win in 32 starts. He's going to fight to the bitter end as he shows the nose to the inside of the center S's. Still trying to pick up places. Looks for the cutback on Dak Govins. Can he get the traction through the curve of the Sol? Very tricky with the weather. Very tricky with the standing water over the curbs. Couple of stabs at getting the car pointing back in the right direction.
It's not quite working out for him. Karim as well being allowed to carry on in front. He has now broken 1.1 seconds on that guy Vince, surpassing a second plus. And now breaking away, Tiamat Marduk's quest for a 3rd title looks like it's going to slip away here in the wet conditions of Interlagos now as they come through towards the middle sector once again for the final time. Sweeping down out of turn 8 out of SA corner. He is yearning with all his might here, Tiamat Marduk, but Lolinoba finding an extra gear and getting closer to the back of Benjamin Daly. What a story it has been for this Italian who arrived in to the Creator Series. He's learned, he's yearned, and now standing tall this season with 6 podiums against his name. 2 victories, the first of which that came at Hungary, the next that came as well as Zandvoort. Benjamin Daly finds his way into second, but it's not going to be enough as Ferrari will surely roar once more whilst Karim takes the win here at Brazil. Lolinoba will indeed take the championship, and not to mention 3rd on track as well, beating Benjamin Daly to the punch across the line. Lolinoba is your Creator Series champion of Season 12. The Italians roar as the Tifosi yell championship. They've secured it here at Interlagos. What a momentous day for Lolinoba.
Italian Stallion, finally the conqueror of the Creator Series. It looked like it was going to be easy work. Had to just push himself a little bit harder with Tim Marduk getting the maximum points in the sprint. But he kept his head, kept it cool, calm and collected. He even beat Ben over the line in that drag race. And a worthy champion, the 8th Creator Series champion, it is Lolinoba of Italy.
The first time he has achieved a P3 this season, it has to be said, incredible stuff. His 7th podium of the campaign as well. It's led to this point now where he is the EA Sports F1 Creator Series champion of Season 12. What an occasion for Lolinoba, winning it in a Ferrari as well. An Italian driver for an Italian team wins the championship in the first final round that we have held at Brazil. And there you can see, of course, race winner Karim 70, a masterful drive in tyres that were less than optimal. Infratic taking the fastest lap, driver of the day. That guy, Vince, is deemed by the game as well. Grid jokes, most overtakes with cleanest driver going to Vince by that same token. He also driving a miraculous race. Same can be said for Infratic as well. These are your final results. Karim 70 crossing the line, your victor. That guy, Vince, unable to make it 2 wins in Creator Series. Lolinoba, though, taking his 7th podium and his first World Drivers title ahead of Tiamat Marduk, Infratic, Razinchai, Grid Jokes, Concept 7, Ricky 03 in 9th, Chris in 10th, Tuki, Adam Sanderson, Mango, then Zafso. Further down we have Ryan, then Davide, Fimex. We lost Scotty Designs as well as Jakey and Faithful to round out the rest of your order. What an incredible race. And we can only now throw it back to the mighty Scott Taylor.
I love it, guys. We have Lolinoba as our champion. It was probably the most predictable outcome, but you know what? I loved watching it happen the entire way. I always felt like there was still a chance for something to go wrong, but it didn't. He played it cool, calm, collected, and let's be fair, he has been a step ahead the entire season, Alex. Who is muted.
I'm muted. There you go. Thank you, Scott Taylor. Caught me. You caught me right at the end. But yeah, no, he's been fantastic this season, hasn't he? I mean, finally picking up that World Championship, his first of his career in the Creator Series as well. And yeah, Ben didn't pick up another title, but I'm sure there'll be opportunities in the future for him to win some more. But yeah, he drove great today. But yeah, Lolinoba didn't make a single major mistake and just kept it clean throughout the race. And then on the podium as well, right at the end. I think Ben was trying to give back the position to that guy, Vince, but because of the dive he made into the final corner. But it did also cost him his position as well. That's what he'll say, of course. That's what he'll say to the audience. But yeah, I mean, congratulations to Lolly. And yeah, it's a fantastic race overall.
I love it. It's been a wonderful season. I have a perfect rate with Lolinoba. Every time I've been here, he has done well, got onto the podium. We have talked to him in the interview. It's just been this way. It's just been a feeling through the entire season. It's just been incredible to watch it come round. I'm so happy. But talking about the race overall, Alex, like, obviously Lolinoba, brilliant, but Karim winning the race, that was quite a good win, to be fair. Sometimes the winner does get overshadowed a little when it's a championship battle, but Karim done banging, right? And Vince.
Yeah, I mean, it was the perfect level of just sensible driving on that intermediate tyre as well. You know, from when he pitted on that intermediate, it was very bone dry, and it took another 5 laps for his tyre to actually start to be good in the race, and then he managed to take them all the way to the end, even in those treacherous conditions right at the end of the Grand Prix. I mean, hats off to him for winning that Grand Prix. And that guy Vince had a brilliant run as well. I mean, even, you know, Infratic finishing in P5, he had a great race this afternoon, even after all our producers' horrible jokes that he put in the driver's information. But you know, it was brilliant from him, and it was a fantastic race overall. Great finale.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's been not just a great finale, it's been a great season of Creator Series. We went back to equal car performance. We reduced the wild cards by quite a bit as well. We kept them every now and again, and I think they've been quite a healthy amount of level. Just overall, I feel like it's been a cathartic season. I hope you in the chat as well agree with us. I think it's been quite the right decision. It's definitely brought these drivers to a very kind of fierce competitiveness. But let's talk about Vince for a wee second. I feel there's something brewing with Vince, okay? He was caught in the midfield for quite a while, but I am noticing each race he's sort of stepping more and more into that sort of podium contention, right?
Yeah, he really is. And I mean, obviously the rain did help him out a little bit, but he then had the pace in the rain as well. It wasn't just the fact that he was, you know, just lucky and happened to be 30 seconds ahead of everyone else. No, he was keeping up with the pack, and he definitely had the chance for the win as well this afternoon. Just Karim was spectacular in that fact. But yeah, that guy Vince, brilliant again today. Everyone was really good today. Those conditions at the end was treacherous. I mean, keeping it on the circuit itself was fantastic.
I agree. Right, well, while we're getting ready for interviews, let's try and bring everyone up on the screen as well, because I've got a couple of questions for the wonderful commentators that we had. George, you sounded like you enjoyed that race, but you always give us a 100% top professional show, as well with yourself and Tom. George, what did you think? Was it always going to be Lolly?
I think, to be honest with you, it was always Lolly. We knew that coming into the final round. I think at Brazil, obviously, Benjamin Daly had quite the mountain to climb. before he could really, be considered, I think, a viable championship contender. Of course, he's always a contender whilst he's within the points bracket, but with the amount he would have to do, it just proved to be a little bit too much. I will, of course, give credit to Lolly. He had to be in all the right places to make it happen. He certainly did. There was a lot of question marks as to what the correct strategy was, certainly when the rain came out deep into the equation. Obviously, we had the wets that came out as well for some drivers. Certain drivers, opted to remain on the same intermediate compounds. I was very impressed with Karim 17 because I wasn't sure how well his tyres were faring, much like Vince's, because they spent a great deal of time on a dry track with those same intermediate tyres. So whilst they may have had only like 11 laps applied to them on them only at one point, they could have lost a lot more grip, they could have had a lot more percentage amassed of wear on their compounds, but obviously it worked out in the end. Karim picking up the win. Lolinoba, though, what a burst to the line, and in what looked to be conditions that he didn't necessarily favour, he managed to pull off an almighty run up towards the line to steal P3 away. What a way to win a championship title.
I think you're right. And Tom, before we just get to the interviews, there was that moment, right, where it nearly went all over between Ben Daly and Lolinoba. Let's talk about that for a wee sec.
That would have been interesting for us, for the chats, for everything that would have gone on. That's what happens when you fight for a championship at the end of the day. You've got to leave everything on the line. Lolly saw an opportunity to make his life a little bit easier, put Ben behind him, just reduce the stress ever so slightly. He didn't need to, but he found the opportunity. And he was lucky, let's be honest, that he kept it on the road, or mostly on the road, took a trip to the runoff area, but no chats with Barrier lining the circuit. Ben, aggressive, but, moved over, tried to defend his place. A talking point that could have become a big flashpoint.
Yeah, I love it. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. Let's talk to our champion. Creator Series champion. I absolutely love it. Mr. Lolinoba, do you remember when you first joined the Creator Series back in the F2 cars?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I remember.
Hello.
I remember.
You remember. And I'm
Of
sure
course.
you thought at that time that you would definitely get into the F1 and you would take the whole championship. And do you know what? You would have been right. Lolinoba, you are the Creator Series champion. How does that feel?
Yeah, feeling really good for Italy, to be honest. It's amazing.
You deserved it. We have spoke every time I've been on this show. I've spoke to you in the interview. We knew that this was coming. I've known it for weeks that you were going to be this champion. There was just this momentum feeling. You just stepped up the pace. Talk me through your race. That seemed like a tricky race where a lot could have went wrong for you.
Yeah, in this race, I don't try to win, to be honest. I just try to get points. So I just try to stay behind the Tia every single lap for don't get a bomb. Anyway, I just try to stay behind. I just try one time to pass Tia, and the grass say watch me. So I say okay, maybe I can stay behind every single lap, and I win. That's the important.
Yes, you did. You know, you played it safe, right? You did, because you had everything to lose. Ben had nothing to lose, right? He just needed to win that race. Turns out Karim just came out of nowhere with the pace, but you done the right thing. But let's talk about more than just this race. This season, you have just been so consistent. What changed? Not that you've always been fast, but what changed particularly this season? Because you have just been a step above the rest.
Yeah, I think in this season I get not luck, but I don't get something wrong like when in the last season. So maybe luck in this season is in my part. Was in my part? Yeah, I think so. I just try to push every time and every day.
I love it. Well, do you know what, Lolinoba? I've loved you being a part of this season. Not only have you won it, you've also just been there having fun the entire time. Now, I ask you this every interview that we do. Do you have anything to say to your fans? You have a lot of fans out in the world that have been screaming your name for 2 hours. What would you like to say to them all?
Forza Italia, ragazzi, l'abbiamo portata a casa. Forza Italia! We are not in World Cup, ma siamo qui.
Yeah, exactly. You needed something. Italy, Lolinoba, well done. Congratulations. I can't wait to see you do it all over again next season. Take care, man.
Thank you, guys. Ciao, ciao.
Take care. I love it. I love it. Every single time I've been here, we have spoke to Lolinoba. It's an incredible guy. Well done to him. I can't wait to see it. All right. Let's get in that guy Vince, because he didn't win the championship, but he definitely deserves to be spoken to, because that guy Vince seems to just be getting faster and faster. Isn't that right, my friend?
I guess it's subjective, I guess, but I mean, pace was okay that race. I think honestly, it was more, the wild strategy to go for the intermediates when it was dry.
Yeah.
I think that more got us to anything. So,
all right, talk me through that. Did you know you were going to do that from the start of the safety car, or was it just one of those like last second moment things?
well, it was awkward because I had to keep asking for the weather report every single lap, almost every single corner, trying to get some sort of information. And yeah, I mean, it went from being 10 minutes to 15. Mark was all over the place in the information. So eventually it got to a point where it was 5 minutes, and I said, I got to go balls to the wall here and just send it. So yeah, me, Karim, I think Adam did as well. We all went for inters, and for me and Karim, it worked out really well. So yeah, it's good.
I love it. Look, you might say it's subjective, but I mean, I don't watch you race every lap, but I'm just keep noticing these results. They just seem to be getting a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Soon you're going to be a serious race contender. Do you enjoy playing this game? You seem to just be so consistent.
Yeah, I mean, like over the course of the game, I put so many hours in that eventually and naturally you just start to understand it more, and you just, you can get in that flow state a bit better as well. But obviously, with it now being, unlikely to be a new season until F1 26 drops, it's going to be a little bit of rust to shake off when the new season drops. And then, of course, it's learning the new handling model, if there was one, but the new cars, most importantly, as well. So, although it's very nice to be in this position, I don't know if this will continue for the DLC. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, to be fair. Just before we go, Vince, if you could sum up the Season 12 Creator Series, we went back to equal cars, we chucked a lot of the wild cards out of the window, we tried to just bring it back to real, proper racing. Have you enjoyed it? Have you had fun here?
Yeah, I mean, one word to describe it would be a word that I can't use because I'll probably get told off. So. But there has been a lot of housery that, comes from a certain area of the body. So, yeah, it's been a crazy season. Am I allowed to say it? Can I say it?
Mate, I'm not going to stop you.
Shithousery, lots of it, so much of it. But yeah, no, it's been a crazy season. I've been on the end of some wild incidents. I've seen some wild incidents. But most importantly, I think everyone really left it all out there this season. I think that's why I feel so, at one with myself in a way this season, because everyone put it out there, and I know I did too. So to come out getting, I think, P4 in the championship in the end as well. So yeah, it's good feeling, but yeah, we'll see what happens next season. We'll see what happens during the break.
I love that. Right, we have a lot of people that do support you, always rooting for you because you're such a nice guy. Anything you want to say to your fans out there?
Yeah, keep on supporting. I mean, 26 is going to be another big year. I mean, they've been through me the entire time. They always help me out with strategies and stuff like that. Sometimes the back seating, takes me over the edge a little bit, but that's how it is. But they've always been there. They've always been supporting, always saying that the podium's coming, the win's coming, and they're always right. So
and they're
big
right.
Up to them guys. Yeah.
Yeah, well done, mate. Go enjoy your night. As Vince, it's always a pleasure, mate. Take care.
Thank you, mate. Have a good one. Take care.
Aye, you too. Okay, last week we spoke to Karim, who won the race. He was having like a disco in his room. Did you see this with your shades and the lights going? I wonder if we've got the same thing going on. Let's see. Karim. Mate, wait. Let's go. I got you, mate. I got you. Karim, you've won the race again with a banging call on strategy. Come on, talk me through that.
In the beginning, it didn't feel like the right call because the rain.
Yes.
5 minutes. Where is it? It's not happening. It came in the nick of time because I just came out ahead of everyone. I think it was like 3 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Obviously had Vince behind me. We know he's rapid, and from there just keeping the pace, no mistakes. That didn't work because I made a mistake, flew off the track.
Yeah.
That was tough because I had to try and recover, get back into the rhythm. Defend from Ben, which was impossible, almost impossible. But yeah, it was tough.
Nah, well done, mate. So you're obviously one of the fastest guys in the grid. Obviously, this was Lolly's season. Do you think luck kind of played a part in your sort of bad luck, or did Lolly just have this? He seemed to be so fast, but like, so you. Like, let me into your mind.
Yeah, see, I thought, this is throwing it way back. I thought after season 9, the next season, okay, Lolly's going to be fine for it. But he turned off the line and he struggled a bit, so that got delayed. He had a good season last season. I knew he would be quick this season, and he proved it. He was one of the most consistent, the quickest, just always up there. Luck definitely came into his hand, but that's, you know, it wasn't crazy luck. It's just kind of the championship magic that you have. I had it as well, so yeah. But as for me, I think, of course, I'm quick. Consistency's never been my thing. I wouldn't say it was all bad luck. It was some strategy mistakes from me and whatnot. And obviously the DNF was all my fault in round 1.
And the ban, mate.
Yeah, round 1 never seems to go well for me. So maybe if I have a good round 1 next season, then we can talk about it. Maybe.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I love it. Well, do you know what, mate? I hope you've had fun. Quick thoughts on the season. Equal car performance. Dropped a lot of the wild cards. Good or bad?
One word answer?
Whatever, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I think good.
I think good. I think
Although,
the audience agree as well.
The few wild cards we did have were fun. Like the 3-tire one was quite good.
Yeah, that's
okay.
more than one word.
All right, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm joking. Well done, mate. Congratulations for winning. Can't wait to see you next season as well. Anything you want to say to your fans before you go?
You know, they're just the best fans, the best engineers. You know, shout out to the guys back at the factory. It wouldn't be possible without them.
Well done.
Yeah,
mate.
but thanks for watching, I guess.
Nah, we love it. You take care of yourself. Can't wait to see you next season, all right?
You
Adios,
too.
Kareem.
Adios in a bit.
The shades are gone. All right, I love to see it. Guys, get involved. Let us know what you've thought of this season as well. If I can bring everyone back, that would be lovely. Oh, and yeah, no, sorry, of course. Let's go for the standings, update you for the post-interviews. I've got that. I know what I'm doing, Mr. Producer. Yes. Hi, Alex, you're back. Lolly and Oba wins the championship with 198 points, banging from the start. He's looked strong and he finished it. Tia McMurdoch eventually finished second with 171 at the end of the day, nowhere near. Kareem, 154, as he said, could have had a bit more consistency. He was definitely fast. That guy wins 4th place. Love to see that. His best so far. Well done. Razan Chai, 5th place, 133 points. Gillen finished 6th. He's the only was at like half the races, so to be fair, that's quite good, to be honest. Fabio 7th, Safso 8th, Grit Jokes 9th, and Ricky in 10th, Alex.
Yeah, then coming down from the 11th to 20th, we've got Adam Sanderson finishing in 11th place, Concept 7, Matt 212, Tuki, and GB 68. Then we've got Chappers, Tom 97, Meraki, Ryan L 83, and Scotty Designs, by the way, rounds out your top 20. He appears on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Our resident meme lord finishing in 20th
and
place.
I think it's going to be Ferrari on top. Will that enter into the real F1 world this season? Probably not, but I like to hope it anyway. Red Bull in 2nd place, just beat out the Racing Bulls with 3 points difference. Fair play, pardon me. 4th place, Mercedes in 8th at 185. 5th place, Aston Martin, which we will definitely not see this year in real life.
Yeah, we see that this year. I'll shave off my head. That's not actually doing that. Just want to. Just my head. I'm shaving my entire head. Everything.
Okay.
Then Alpine in 6th place, McLaren in 7th, Sauber in 8th, Williams in 9th, and a Haas dropping up to the bottom of the table on 50 points. But Ferrari, yes, with a comfortable lead at the end of that Grand Prix.
Yeah. All right, let's bring everyone back up. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had fun this season. I hope you enjoy the Creator Series. I love it. It is a bunch of people that are taking time out of their lives to try and put on a fun show. This world can sometimes be a negative place, but things like this are good. I know you might get into some fights sometimes in comment sections and blah, 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 but we're all just a bunch of nice guys just trying to have fun, George, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what gaming's all about, isn't it? That's what racing's all about, just being able to put everything aside that goes on outside of the track, outside of the paddock, outside of the sim rig. And you know, just being able to park it and just get lost in the environment of sport, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. But it's honestly been an unbelievable privilege to once again be part of the EA Sports F1 Creator Series. Honestly, to come back for my 2nd race. I didn't think I would even get one this season, to be honest with you, here with you guys. So it's great to be back, and especially after a magnificent United States race that I got to be a part of in the broadcast, to again come to Brazil, which always provides a clinic whenever we come here. It's magnificent. So yeah, incredibly important. Big thank you to all the viewers as well for their impeccable support and everything. Obviously, we couldn't do this without them.
That is a perfect point to make, because we can't do it without the people watching us week in, week out, talking about every week. We've basically had Tom Wilkinson here holding the fort, doing incredible on the comms. Tom, you had fun this season? Certainly sounds it.
It's been a really strong one. I think the storylines that have developed have been really cool to watch. I think the races have been strong, felt a little bit less artificial as well, as we've gone back to our roots, limited wildcards, equal performance. I think it builds really nicely. Whether this closes the chapter of F1 25, we expect it will do. We don't know when the next DLC is going to be coming out, but I think for this season, season 12, to close that book on the F1 25 and the ground effect era as well, because we've only raced Creator Series in the ground effect era. So this will be the first time for the next season, season 13, that we go outside of those cars, which I'm very looking forward to seeing if maybe it changes anything.
Love that. You're completely right. Yes, we will be looking forward to the new DLCs, not to be announced yet, but we're expecting big things, Alex, aren't we?
Yeah, hopefully we can get them very soon, because obviously the drivers will want to start a little bit of practicing beforehand before we get into the 2026 season. And obviously we're all hoping for some good racing, like we've had in the 2026 season. Not being sarcastic there.
11 teams.
11 teams?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
More drivers, more content creators, more happy, wonderful people that are going to be trying to give you the best entertainment possible. And you can only see it by following us here and on all the other social media platforms, obviously, because we're going to be giving you in-depth content throughout the week on all the drivers' POVs. That's maybe some of the battles you might have missed. Now, before we say goodbye for the final time this season, we have George, Tom, and Alex in front of you. George Morgan, if we've enjoyed your brilliant voice, where can we find you in this world if we want a bit more?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at George Morgan TV. But most importantly, folks, do check out all the creators, everyone who has taken part inside the broadcast as well. Make sure you also follow the Creator Series socials and channels.
Yes, you get following everyone. Tom Wilkinson, where can we find you?
If you're interested in what I'm doing, wilker.coms on Instagram and TikTok. Pleasure to be a part of this series once again, and hopefully we'll continue to get bigger and better in the next time we're back.
I can only see it going one way. And Mr. Alex Heron, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch at Deathlink10. Also, check out our producer, TK, who's done this whole producing thing. He hates when people do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So TK, he's produced this whole thing. He's got like 25 monitors. He's like a Star Trek ship right now. It's looking great. But Scott Taylor, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram singing stupid songs about the F1 races, because that's what I do. But anyway, I think it's time, guys, for the final time this season. We need to thank you very much for watching. We hope you've had fun. We hope you've enjoyed the highs and lows of these amazing creators. Lolly Nova winning it, Ben in second place, Sandy in the bin, Fabio didn't DNF for once, Gillen wasn't even here. Stay tuned. We will be back next season. I hope to see you then. From myself, George, Tom, and Alex, please take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful night. We are the EA Sports F1 Creator Series, and we'll see you next season.